We've got puzzles to do. We've got puzzles. Is this recording, by the way? I should have double checked this. Great. I'm so smart. I'm doing my job. Xavian for the 22nd month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Check this out, though. Nyx Weaver. Oh, the worst. Consider a 2-minute it'll quench ya? No, that's not here. Change the that's an uncommon. It's from this set. Teferi's time, no. I forget. It's a Teferi card, I think. What the hell is this? I'm pretty sure it's like... No, I don't think it's a flicker card. What are you? Is there a counterspell I'm missing? Probably. 2-mana instant speed? There's like a draw spell, right? There's like a telling time. I've played this. I played this card. Moment in time. Moment of time. Moment of triumph. Moment of truth. Moment of truth. Oh! The only other one I know is the one they played in Omnitel, the bounce spell. That's honestly how I know this card, from Storm and from Omnitel. There's one in a blue Convoke card. But that's like, I don't remember what it's called. Something Dismissal? No clue. No clue. I've exhausted my knowledge of Mom. That's what it is. Mom card knowledge. I don't know. I'm gonna cheat. I think it's before I get there. I believe it is one in a blue Convoke that gives a creature -2/-0. I think that's what it is. No idea what it's called. No, okay, it could be this card called Assimilate Essence. I don't even know if the card I mentioned is real. It's not. Hey, wouldn't you know it? Who could remember this? What the fuck? Remember Battles? Remember Battles? I like Battles. I wish they'd make more. Onto Spellify. Something of something. Archangel of Thune. Oh, Archon. Archangel of Tithe. The hell is this? It's Flash. Archivist of Ogma. Ogma? Alright. I could have read it, but I decided not to. Spellify. Is this Enchantment Aura? Enchant. C-R-E-A-T-U-R-E. Enchant creature. You control it. Corrupted Conscience. He's so good. He's so fucking good. He's so fucking good. Nobody's getting that. Nobody's getting that. Come on, brother. Nobody's getting that. Hi, chat. Nobody's getting that. We've got Root Potato for the 82nd month. My favorite Magic setting is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, where they travel back to feudal Japan. You mean Kamigawa and Neon Dynasty? I'm kidding, of course. I'm kind of kidding, but there's a good way and a bad way to do that. Turl for the 7th month as well. Went to my first face-to-face tour this weekend, Magic the Gathering. Did you have fun? I hope you did well. Glad to hear. Thank you so much for all the support. I heard that I saw that Pro Tour Day 2 competitor and Canadian Highlander year-end winner Noel Robin is he was at this face-to-face event, and he fought somebody in one of the later rounds, and they're like, "This is my first event," and their record was 204. 204. Hell yeah. Anyways. Yeah, 4 draws. All right. Hey, everybody. Let's talk shop. Today, I'm going to be talking about the newest set to release in Magic the Gathering, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have not had a stroke. If you just woke up out of a coma and you heard this, it's real. This is the world we live in. And shocking enough, it's not the worst thing that's happening. We're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm also talking about the Commander product and the co-op product. Basically, we're talking about this set or these releases through the lens of Canadian Highlander, which means that if it's legal in Vintage, it's legal in our format. So I have them all consolidated here. Worth mentioning, not the largest set, which is kind of nice. Makes it a little easier to talk about. And for what it's worth, if you are going to sit down here and you're like, I can't wait for if you're going to be like that drunken guy that approached me at a MagicCon event that said like, your whole shtick is that you're cynical, right? You're just always cynical about everything. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to talk about the text on the cards. I frankly don't give a shit about the flavor of this set, and honestly, a lot of Magic the Gathering sets after, I don't know, 2013. Nothing really makes you jaded like like Battle for Zendikar. And doing that set review for the podcast, or the set rundown for the podcast. But yeah, I'm going to talk about the text on the cards. I tend to play Magic the Gathering first and foremost for the words on the cards, the gameplay, all that. I don't give a shit about the story. Frankly, I've stopped caring about the setting. I don't want to get into the discourse surrounding it. I think it's slop. I think a lot of Magic is slop, and I think we should have been complaining about this more recent than just Universes Beyond. That's my pitch. So, if you want to have a circle jerk in the comments about it, go nuts. But I just don't fucking care. I just want to read the words on the cards because that's what matters to me. That's what matters to me. Okay. I'm going to talk about the words on the cards here. I'm going Wooburg. The Commander cards are intermingled with the normal cards. I'm going to be talking about basically anything that even has a slight bit of slight chance of showing up, or that people want to play them, that kind of thing. Yeah, I want to talk about the cards here. Does that sound good? Great. If you have any questions, you can let me know in chat. You can ask about stuff if you'd like. I'm sure that people are going to comment. You can ask, why didn't you talk about this, or what about this? don't lab mansplain. Lab mansplaining is talking about very niche side, situations, side cases, stuff that doesn't really matter. I'm going to try to talk about this in the most competitive, or not the most competitive, but like, even if it is something that is, even if it's something that is like tier 2 or below, more niche decks in Canlander, I'm going to talk about them through the lens of trying to, make them good or give them some respect, I guess. If that works, that makes sense. Like, there'll be some cards here that I'm going to talk about for, say, a counters deck, or like the Soul Sisters, like the Ajani's Pridemate decks. Not the most competitive decks available in Canadian Highlander, but that's okay, because Canadian Highlander is a format that a variety of people play for a variety of reasons. So we're going to talk about that for a variety of those reasons. Does that sound good? That sound good? Great. Let's get started. First card I have here is Agent Bishop, Man in Black. 2 and a white for a 1/2 legendary human soldier. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. I think this card is going to be pretty strong. The downsides of this card, just getting them out of the way, are dies to basically everything. Doesn't die to Bowmasters, which is nice. And it's a legendary creature without an ETB that costs 3. So obviously Bolt and Caracas. That out of the way, if they don't deal with this card, the turn that it comes down, you're going to get some pretty good value out of it immediately. Not to mention, the value that you are getting can push it out of the range of being dealt with. This card is going to start accruing +1/+1 counters on your other creatures as well as itself. That part is very exciting. Like the play pattern of playing a creature into playing this, especially if it's off of like soul mana, like Ancient Tomb or Mana Crypt or whatever, or Moxdraw, is insane. Being able to spread the love up itself, it's shockingly reasonable but like shockingly reasonable proactive play to make and not have to worry about Fury and Pyrokinesis, because this has 2 toughness. Even if you have a 1 toughness creature, combat, this triggers, you put a counter on this and a counter on your other creature. A Fury is not going to be able to kill both of those cards. Pyrokinesis is not going to be able to kill both those cards, which is pretty relevant, right? I'm going to be playing this in my Mono White Humans list. I don't know if I'm going to be playing this in a more like in the really hateful versions of Death and Taxes. Certainly in the more aggressive ones. I would try this out in like obviously a counters deck or a Selesnya deck. If there's a bit of a counters theme, this card is obviously absurd with Ouroboros, really just lays on the pressure when paired with cards like Luminarch Aspirant and Siege Veteran. Yeah, this is a card that will kill people. It's not quite Ouroboros, but I imagine there are going to be games where it sure will feel like Ouroboros. Like, you didn't kill it the first time, and now you can't deal with it, and it's just going to run away with the game. From the Commander product, continue. 1 and a white for an instant. You choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield. In the small glimpses that I get at social media nowadays, terrible to do. I should just cut it full turkey, but unfortunately my job does require me to use social media somewhat. This card has popped up because it's so funny. It's the kind of card that will do numbers because somebody just posts this and goes, whoa, is this for real? Question mark. And then you get to play the game of, is this a commander player, or is this like somebody that's playing a tier 3 legacy deck? You know, like it's a fun little roulette to get to look at. I don't think this card's particularly good. It is powerful. I could see a spot where somebody decides to play this in their deck because they don't have the best grasp on the kind of cards that work well in this type of, you know, the kind of cards that synergize really well with this type of effect, right? Like this is a card where you are likely playing it alongside creatures with ETBs, vulnerable creatures. Maybe you have it in like a sack outlet deck, that kind of thing. But then you look at it and you're like, well, what happens if I don't have a target for this, right? It's just sitting in your hand and it's 2 mana. That's a lot. The versions of this type of card that see play, either the protective pieces, cards that can rebuy ETBs, or cards that prevent your creature from dying or let it die and then bring it back. The ones that see play are all 1 mana. The ones that are 2 mana that see play, though, are proactive. They let you, if you're like, well, shields are down, it's so good if I just play this like flicker effect targeting one of my creatures in play to rebuy an ETB. Or I go, well, I'm going to recommission my 3 mana value creature, my elite spellbinder, or my time vault, or my trinket mage, that kind of thing. They let you be a little more proactive. This requires you to have 2 mana in a spot where things are getting killed, and you're happy about all this. Not to mention, a lot of the removal in the format has shifted. There's a lot of removal in the format that is moving more to exile, especially in the decks that are playing Wraths that you're hoping to get your biggest kind of punch out of this card. I mean, you'll hit spots against like a Jund deck or a Black X or a Red X deck where like they Fury your board and you can get a continue. They Harvester of Misery your board and you get it back or whatever. But it just needs this card needs so many things to go right for it to be good in that moment in time. And I just rather play cheaper cards that offer more proactive play patterns. You could maybe sell me on this if I'm playing like an Aristocrats deck. That's kind of exciting. But even then, I just don't think this is what Aristocrats is excited to do. I think Aristocrats is more excited to play the 1 mana versions because they don't actually care if all their creatures are dying. They just care, you know, if something gets like their Mayhem Devil gets killed or whatever. I know I have such a limited view of the format, but I swear I see basically no sweepers in the Canlander play on North 100 and or what Angel and I do here. Yeah, that's because you're watching Canlander content. I don't play a ton of Wraths or decks that play Wraths on Canlander content because, one, that's how I made a lot of my money in this format outside of eggs and stuff. So I'm kind of bored of that. I've done my work. And 2, it's just like, I don't know. Do you really want to see me choke Surge out or Nelson out in a recording where I'm playing Jeskai or Blue White? Bad beans, maybe. I might take bad. Yes. I mean, yeah, the answer is always yes, but when new cards come out, it's more interesting to focus on proactive strategies. That's what I'll say. And a lot of North 100 recordings, you know, obviously when we need stuff to record, we're going to record them. No matter what, like, time of year it is, set release or not. But we do try to tie a lot of it to, hey, a new set has come out. We're playing some new cards. We're excited to brew with these new cards, you know? Osrikath, welcome to the stream. Thank you for subscribing and supporting the channel. Also, somebody asked me my beverages. I have my second cup of coffee that is a little cold, and I have my water bottle. But once that clock hits like 11:30 or 12, you better believe I'm grabbing my zero sugar Dr. Pepper for the day. I got some Dr. Pepper. Well, Angel got me some Dr. Pepper. God bless her soul. Dimensional Exile is the next card here. 1 and a white for an enchantment aura. Enchant a basic land you control. When this aura enters, you exile target creature an opponent controls until this aura leaves the battlefield. I believe this is just a worse version of Ossification. Ossification being able to hit planeswalkers as well. Because this is a UB product, it doesn't hit planeswalkers. And that's kind of annoying. It's not the end of the world. Ossification sees a little bit of play here and there. Sometimes you'll see it in the back to basics blue-white control decks. Those are more of a rarity nowadays. But like, it's cool. And usually they play on thin ice, but if they want to hit planeswalkers too, Ossification's okay. Usually that's because they're like a blue-white control deck that wants to enlighten tutor for like moat back to basics or something else. They show up occasionally. Not my version of blue-white, but they show up. Oops, sorry. This card also, or this style card also shows up in Enchantress, a deck archetype that hasn't really shown up that much. I think it's powerful enough to add redundancy to say that Enchantress deck. I don't think I'm playing it in the oh, this is summertime. That's why it caught me off guard. I don't think we're playing this in the blue, white, and light tutor back to basics deck. Probably just keeping it for Enchantress. Maybe somebody plays big white and they're playing this, you know? Yeah. Cute little add-on. I guess I'll talk about this card. Endless Foot Assault. 2 and a white for an enchantment with squad 1 and a white. For those that don't remember what squad is you can cast this spell as an additional cost when you cast the spell, or as you cast the spell. You could pay the squad cost any amount of times, and then for each time you do, you get a copy of, you know, the card. So like, if you've watched Vintage Cube, you've seen the Securitron Squadron that squads and makes a bunch of Securitron Squadrons. This is just going to make additional copies of this enchantment, Endless Foot Assault, which says whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 black ninja token that's tapped and attacking that player. This is something that reads like it's for multiplayer and likely will play like it's for multiplayer. The squad part of this is interesting. I don't exactly have a spot where I want to play this. Like, this is the kind of thing I look at, I'm like, damn, we really need to start brewing with Sarah Sanctum more in our format. Because this can kill people. It is kind of funny that it's like an infinite mana sink as an enchantment here, right? You just generate infinite mana in an Enchantress in a Sarah Sanctum deck, play this, attack with your 0/1 Enchantress, and then just hit them with a million ninjas. That's not nothing. I think we already have the like infinite mana, infinite loop available without this card, like the payoff. But it's kind of neat. Like, 3 mana for whenever you attack, you get a 1/1 tapped and attacking is not nothing. But I think it's a little, it's just a little underpowered now. I just saw this card and I'm like, okay, you kind of got to give respect to any card that does something at multiple mana points and that will provide like repeatable value for you just taking a pretty standard game action. Koya, Death from Above. This is 2 and a white for a legendary mutant ninja bird. It is a flying 2/1. When Koya enters, you exile up to 1 other target creature. And at the beginning of the next end step, you can pay 3 and a black. And if you don't, you return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this one's kind of funny because it just lines up in a bunch of slots that we don't have yet. This is a legendary creature with a single pip of mana that is under 3 mana that has an ETB that lets you flicker with something. It is a flicker. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole flicker blink conversation, but it will return the card at the beginning of the end step, which is kind of interesting. We haven't really had this before. This is kind of a sick effect where you can obviously brick your opponent's tokens. You can just remove one of their blockers, reset one of their cards. You can flicker your own thing and get it back at your end step. You can Caracas this and get to do it all over again. It also gets to just hit your opponent in the air for 2 while doing a lot of this. Like the play pattern of like, you know, I am attacking you in the air, then I'm going to Caracas this, replay it, flicker your thing, or flicker my own thing and rebuy something is kind of interesting. You know, obviously getting rid of their creature is better pre-combat, and then you've played this and it's done the thing, so it doesn't get to attack. But there's a lot of flexibility in when you do this, what you target, and how it plays out. Being able to be found off of Recruiter of the Guard as well as Imperial Recruiter is pretty interesting. Yeah, there's just a lot going on with this card that makes me interested in looking at it. I don't think you play this card and go like, I can't wait to pay 7 mana every single time. But the decks that do play this, that would consider playing this card, are going to have a lot of mana available, right? If you are, let's say, a Blink deck, you have a lot of mana. You have Mana Rocks, or like Moxen typically in your points, Gaia's Cradle, Mana Dorks. And even though it requires a black, at least in my version of Blink, and I imagine most versions of Blink, you will have some black mana for your Grist the Hunger Tide or your Deathrite Shaman. If we're talking about a Death and Taxes list, like one that is really looking to muddy up the board and goes into Orzhov, then again, your points are going to be spent mostly on fast mana, and getting up to 7 mana is not the expected outcome, but it will happen, and it unlocks another play pattern for this card. Cool little card, has some stuff. Can't imagine it'll see a ton of play, but it's the kind of thing that like somebody will play against me, or I might get, you know, an itch to play this, and one of the players is going to go, whoa, and have to read it. Leader's Talent. This is an enchantment, a class enchantment at that, for 1 and a white. Whenever you attack, you put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature, and then level up to level 2 for 2 and a white. Whenever your creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had a counter on it, you gain 2. And then level 3 for 3 and a white. Whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Classes are kind of funny. They see little play in our format. Like, we used to see Rangers class. Bard class occasionally shows up. There's a chance that Artist Talent is underplayed in our format. Caretaker's Talent occasionally shows up. There are some other classes here. Druid class in the lands combo, fighter class. Like, you get the picture. None of these are jumping out as like, damn, this is a top tier deck. Storm Chaser Talent, one that kind of shows up occasionally now in like the Vivi decks and whatnot, or the Izzet decks. But like, none of these are like, damn, I gotta look out for this. This card's pretty good. The Innkeeper's Talent's pretty good for what it's worth. Probably underplayed. They're all kind of underplayed. Yeah, I think a lot of this is less. I think the fact that some of these enchantments don't see play, or the ones that do see play don't see a ton of play, is less of a comment on the quality of the card and the strength and the payoff for what they provide, and more just a culture thing, you know? Like, Canadian Highlander players and some Magic players always assume the worst is going to happen and that they'll never have time to do anything. And then you play a match of the format and you're like, oh shit. God, I wish I had something to use my mana on. And these are pretty good at doing that. The point is, the first level of this card, pretty reasonable, plays like a worse version of Luminarch Aspirant and of Innkeeper's Talent, but because it's in white, because we have, you know, a lot of enchantments, because you have the excess mana lying around, it's kind of interesting. The problem is that level 2 and level 3 aren't that exciting. I mean, level 3 is a great trigger ability to have, but it doesn't really push you to victory. It just kind of, level 3 on this card feels like, hey, sorry things haven't been working out. Here you go. Here's a little something to help. And it's like $5. And you're like, oh, well, okay. But like, I was just in a car accident and like my pet is sick. Like, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like doing much for me, you know? So reasonable first level here. The other two leave something to be desired, and I just don't think it makes the cut. Get ready for me to say the word Leonardo like 18 times. Leonardo, Big Brother. 2 and a white for a legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. Leonardo has Sneak. Sneak is kinda fixed ninjutsu, different ninjutsu. Basically, you pay the sneak cost and return an unblocked attacker you control to hand during the declare blocker step. And then the card enters tapped and attacking. And then on some cards, because Sneak isn't exclusively creatures, it can let you cast sorceries or enchantments at a different timing in the game than you would normally be able to, and often at a reduced cost, right? So you attack, something's not blocked, you pay the 1 white mana, you sneak in Leonardo, and then you're going to hit them with Leonardo. Leonardo's a 1/3, but says Leonardo gets +1/+0 for each other creature you control. I think this card is pretty strong. The sneak is different from ninjutsu, which is different from web slinging. They all play differently. They all ask for different things, different requirements, which, you know, all have their own timing and their own kind of nuances to them, I guess, is what I'm saying. And in white, it's pretty interesting, right? Like, white has tricks that they can do at combat that make it difficult for players to judge what is going to survive once the dust is cleared. But not a ton of ways of shifting the expectations of how much damage is being dealt, right? It can come in the form of stuff like Lion Sash and whatnot, but like that's on the table, not coming from the hand. So there are worlds where this Leonardo sneaks in and is now hitting them. They thought they were taking 1, but now they're taking an additional 4, right? That's pretty neat. And the fact that you're casting it is a plus and a negative. Obviously, this means that it can be countered, but it can trigger abilities that trigger off of you casting creatures, casting legends, casting creatures with low power, right? That kind of stuff, which is kind of interesting. I think I'm willing to try this card out in either a very aggressive version of white or white X decks, or a deck that is focused on the legendary aspect. Yoshimaru is pretty funny. There's some legendary payoffs in white that you can, if you really hone in on, they're going to do something. They are going to, you know, give you a unique position in the metagame, so to speak. They just do something different from the other mono white decks or the other white X decks, which is kind of cool. And this one can just hit like a truck for 1 mana. So many fucking turtles. Leonardo, Cutting Edge. 1 and a white for a 1/1 legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. Has Sneak for a single white. Has Lifelink. Whenever you gain life, you put a 1/1 counter on Leonardo. So this is another legendary creature in white that can sneak for a single white. Sneaking for 1 mana is pretty nice. That's just very cheap for getting this into play. This one is also just cheap as a 2-drop. Pretty reasonable to just cast. I don't think you want to play this card unless you really commit to the life gain and the life link. I think that the Soul Wardens deck, like the Soul Sisters, the aggressive Ajani's Pridemate style deck, is a deck that is not embarrassing to bring to an event. Like, you don't bring it and go, I am going to trounce my opponents. Some matchups are fucking hilarious. Like you play against red with this deck, it's game over. They're done. They need to, like, even if they get a Sulfuric Vortex or like a Roiling Vortex or whatever, doesn't matter. You're green-white. Sometimes you have black, but you're green-white. You can get rid of an enchantment, or you can exile a Screaming Nemesis before its trigger gets targeted towards you. In that deck, this card's pretty exciting. Not only is it a life linker, meaning that it's going to help trigger itself, it's going to grow every single time, but also the fact that it gets to put itself into play, tapped and attacking, potentially triggering a Soul Warden trigger like a Guide of Souls, or the new one, the 1 mana 1/1 Death Touch Soul Warden, gaining you a life, triggering your other Pridemates, triggering itself, and then it'll hit them, triggering itself again, triggering your other Pridemates. That's pretty exciting. So a little narrow in where it shows up, but I think it is like the perfect kind of card for that deck. That deck is good on Soul Wardens. Like, you're capped at what you want, what you have. And in fact, you get to make a decision of, like, do I want to play Essence Warden? Do I not? You know, whatever. Or do I want to play the one from Midnight Hunt that has Disturb? And yeah, it's cool for that deck. Pretty strong for that deck. Leonardo, Leader in Blue. A single white mana. Very funny name for that. A single white mana for a legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. You get a 2/1 with Sneak for 3 white. And when Leonardo enters, if his Sneak cost was paid, creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. And for 1 and a white, Leonardo gains first strike until end of turn. This is a pretty interesting one. We have so far only seen the Sneak cost used as a way to reduce the cost of the card. The previous 2 Leonardos being 3 mana and 2 mana that get reduced down to 1 mana. This instead is a 1-drop that has a Sneak cost that's more expensive, but its Sneak cost does kill your opponent. And that's kind of exciting. Being a cheap enough card that you can tutor for this off of not only Recruiter of the Guard or Imperial Recruiter, but also it's a 1-drop. So you can find it off Ranger Captain of Eos, Ranger of Eos, Bright Glass Gear Hulk, Starfield, whatever the hell that angel's called. And that's kind of neat. It gives you a 1-drop that actually just ends the game. Like, you have enough creatures going sideways, and you sneak this bad boy out, hits the table, buffs not just itself, but other creatures, meaning that you're going to get a pretty big swing off of it. Very, very funny that it buffs itself, which, because the floor is that if you get this through, you're pushing 4 damage in combat that, you know, was likely 1 or less. Then it just randomly has this first strike ability, which means that if you have it as your 1-drop, you basically, I mentioned this on North 100 with a set review, which is out if you want to listen to that, where the play pattern is like, it's very similar to a Gonjo Castle. If you don't know what a Gonjo Castle is, it's a land, legendary land at that, that taps out a white. You can pay a white, tap to prevent the next 2 damage dealt to a legendary creature. So the play pattern of, like, land Isamaru, untap a Gonjo Castle, turn this sideways. And they're like, oh, well, I'll block your Isamaru and they'll trade. And you're like, well, no, I have this Agonjo Castle. I'm going to prevent the 2 damage to my Isamaru. That killed so many people back in the day, caught so many people off guard, still catches people off guard in Canadian Highlander to this day. Not as much as it used to, but when it does, whoo, feels pretty good. And the first strike ability does just that. Kythian is another one. Kythian, Hero of Akros, has that kind of ability of like, yeah, I've got mana open and I turned it sideways. What do you want to do? The first strike makes it real nasty to just, attack, to block rather, especially when you think about the pieces that you're going to be playing with this card. You could play the aforementioned Agonjo Castle. You could play Luminar Casprid, Siege Veteran, Agent Bishop, all these cards. You're just going to get a very large first striking creature. And it also just plays well with other sneak cards because it's a 1-drop, if you so choose. It's also just a 1-drop legend for the Yoshimaru deck that I had mentioned. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool card. I expect to die to this card a couple of, a couple of times. Leonardo, maybe you've heard of this guy. Sewer Samurai, 3 and a white for a 3/3 double striking Mutant Ninja Turtle Samurai that has sneak for 2 white. During your turn, you can cast creature spells with power or toughness 1 or less from your graveyard. And if you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter on it. So the sneak cost here is the same as the mana value, right? It's just the same as the mana value. But the sneak of this card means that your ETB, your legend without an ETB that has 3 toughness can potentially catch people off guard and push 6 damage. Like, that's a lot of damage. You can also, the timing of the sneak plays pretty well in, like, I attack with a bunch of stuff. They block in such a way where they're like, well, I'm not dying to this attack, so I can afford to block, say, this Ocelot Pride, this Guide of Souls. And then you get this card out. And they take more damage than they expected. And then, if you have mana left over, you get to play your Guide of Souls, your Ocelot Pride, whatever from the graveyard. You can cast any number. It's not once per turn, which is very exciting. Doesn't care about the mana value of the cards, which is very exciting. But it's a 4-drop. I just like, we talked about Sarah Paragon on the North 100 set review. And I do actually think that mono white and white X decks, excluding white red, right? I think a lot of these decks have moved away from 4-drops. Almost too, like, they've moved a bit too far away, right? Like, you don't have the mana acceleration of, say, Jund, but you have some fast mana, right? You have Moxen. Your points are going towards fast mana. And so casting 4s can be pretty exciting, especially if, say, the card that you're returning with Sneak is, I don't know, a Skyclave Apparition, a Recruiter of the Guard, a Solitude, Ranger Captain of Eos, Giant Killer. Like, there are a bunch of things that you can return in white and white X decks that are very scary. So it's hard to say whether or not this card is worth the shot. I feel like this is a card that I'm just going to die to, and then we're going to forget about it in a year. I think I'd prefer to look towards Sarah Paragon just because of the flexibility, being able to replay lands, your Wasteland, your Strip, whatever, is more exciting to me. But this card's not nothing. It's not purely commander slop. Didn't talk about this one on the set review. Leonardo's Technique. 3 and a white for a sorcery with Sneak for 1 and a white. Return 1 or 2 target creatures, each with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to play. If you can sneak it, that's pretty good. If you can't sneak it, you're still up mana if you return 2 3s or a 2 and a 3. And you're mana neutral if you return 2 2s. But it's just finding a spot to use this is really important, and quite difficult. if I may say. So I think this one's sitting on the bench. It's powerful, but it's expensive. And when I said, like, you want to be playing 4s, I don't know if this is the 4 you want to be playing. I could maybe consider this in, like, Ruin Your Evening, where, yeah, I'm going to attack you with, like, a spirit token or some shit and be able to sneak back, like, get back a White Plume Adventurer, get back, like, an Orcish Bowmasters that died or whatever. Yeah, it can get back Aki, can get back Barrogoyf. Like, there's some play to these kind of cards, right? That's why we see decks that are playing Helping Hand and Unearth, and why there are decks that are paying the point for Reanimate despite the fact that the biggest thing they're returning is Solitude. I still want to stick to my original analysis, is that I imagine that this is too cute, but this falls in the category of it'll probably see some play and it's too cute. Commander Slop implies the existence of Canlander Slop. Yeah, Canlander players, a lot of people that think that they're approaching Magic the Gathering in a competitive lens, really are just participating in a different type of slop, which is fine. Slop's fun. It's tasty. You ever been to Taco Bell? That shit hits. But it's still slop. And in fact, recognizing that it is slop is not a way to downplay, like, it's not said ironically, right? It's not necessarily said ironically. And in fact, accepting that is one of the most important steps on the path to enlightenment, to self-actualization, is accepting that slop kind of hits. And it's not a guilty pleasure. It can just be a pleasure. Everything is slop? I mean, hard to say. It's one of those things where, you know, you can be reductive for what Magic is and what Magic isn't. I think that there is some legitimacy behind being like, yeah, at the end of the day, we're playing a card game that is, it's a hobby. It's an activity that doesn't necessarily help us grow as people. So in some ways it does, but, like, yeah, it's a hobby, and it's okay for your hobbies to be slop. But then you got to move forward and accept that, like, while the Magic is slop, the Gathering is soul enriching, right? Like, you get both. Now, when you play Magic the Gathering Arena, it's just all slop. But if you go out to your LGS, you go out to a Magic convention, you meet up with your friends for your weekly, like, get together, or you play Magic Online and you shoot the shit about how unlucky somebody's been because they lost 3 Mana Crypts. Like, that's the soul. The soul and the slop work together. It feels so good to accept that you can have slop in your soul and not necessarily soul in your slop. I would wager that slop by definition doesn't have that much soul. I think there's a bit of a soul chaser when you get some slop. Anyways, I've lost the plot. Emil Levitt for 7 month. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. I hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Leonardo the Balance. 3 and a white for a legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's a 3/3. It says whenever a token you control enters, you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. And then you pay Wooburg. Creatures you control gain Menace, Trample, Lifelink until end of turn. This is a commander card. It is purely a commander card. It also has partner character select. It's a partner, but tied to character select. That's kind of cool. Not for our format. Not for our format. I can't be talking about chasers. Why not? Leonardo, Worldly Warrior. 7 and a white for a 5/5 legendary mutant ninja turtle. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you control. And it's a 5/5 double striker. This is the kind of card that I will die to, and I'll be like, holy shit, I can't believe someone decided to play this in their deck. And I can't believe I didn't have the Krakus, or the kill spell, or a chump blocker. It's a very large double striking creature. I don't think it's showing up in our format. But it's fucking big. It just kills you dead. Holy. Lita, Little Orphan Amphibian. For 1 and a white, you get a 2/1 legendary mutant ninja turtle with Alliance. Whenever another creature you control enters, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. You put a 1/1 counter on Lita. You create a food token, or you scry 1. Pretty powerful card. It shares a lot of DNA with Galagreeters. Galagreeters does not see play in our format anymore. And I think for similar reasons, this card will not see play. It is a bit different, right? This is a white creature. Galagreeters gains life, which is irrelevant. It makes treasure tokens, which is very relevant. This making food tokens is kind of a combination in that you get an artifact token, and you can crack it to gain life. We did it, folks. We combined the two. Scry 1's kind of neat. I don't think this card is good enough. There's a lot of rate here. Like this is like a card where I'm reading, I'm like, holy shit, this does a lot. But just not a lot of it is like kind of like, oh yeah, I get to scry 1. Oh yeah, I get to grow this. And I just don't think there's I don't think there's enough. Like at least Galagreeters can play into like one of the abilities, the treasure ability, setting itself up to trigger the second ability. Whereas this one doesn't get any of that play pattern. Prehistoric Pet. 1 white for a 1/2 dinosaur ninja. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power and has 1 and a white, tap, return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. Activate only during your turn. Very weird timing on this ability. Very weird ability in the first place. It looks like it's a card designed to facilitate sneak. It's very odd. Very weird. This kind of ability is not bad on a 1-drop for what it's worth. Returning another creature you control. Doing it only during your turn is restrictive, but it makes sense. This is the kind of card I look at and I go, I should put Dowerport Mage in my Blink deck. Yeah, the fact that you can do it anytime during your turn, not just as a sorcery, is pretty nice. Is it me or is the set generally pretty aggressively costed? I think it might be because you look at this and you assume it's UB, therefore it's commander slop. But it's not, you know? Well, it is and it isn't. What I mean by that is like, you look at this and you're like, I feel like everything should cost a little bit more, right? I mean, commander players always have Soul Ring. And then you're like, no, this is they at some point in time they decided, hey, wouldn't it be great if this were a standard set? And so the cards are going to be somewhat equivalent in their mana cost, their rate rather, to the surrounding standard sets. This card is kind of funny. I've thought about it a bit. I don't think I'm playing it, but it does something pretty powerful. Splinter, Aging Champion. 2 and a white for a legendary mutant ninja rat. That's a 2/2. When it comes into play, you destroy up to 1 target tapped creature. And when it leaves play, you and another player each draw a card. That's annoying. Killing a creature, a tap creature is whatever. Creatures attack you. You've got a giant killer in play, whatever. Like you'll tap some creatures. Destroying it, just flat out destroying a tap creature is pretty strong. And then you and another player drawing a card is great because obviously this is the kind of card that you want to play either in a deck that looks to tax your opponent, which taxes yourself, but your deck is built around the idea that, non-creature spells are going to cost 1 more. They're non-basics coming into play tapped, whatever. That play pattern plus, the mana acceleration that comes in with mono white or white X, or like a blink deck, a deck that wants to take advantage of this ETB, and this leaves the battlefield trigger. So you're going to have a lot of mana, a lot of and just like a bunch of cards to just invalidate whatever your opponent's doing. Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting card. I don't think I'm playing it. I'll level with you. I think I'm a coward. I look at this card and I'm like, I'll just wait until somebody else, see if anybody else wants to give it a shot. But the second one person plays it, I'll be like, yeah, I said this was good at the set review. I said this card was playable from the get-go. Yeah, I'll do this. Why not? This is very Commander. There are a lot of cards because they're one of the products that is tied to the set code of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Commander is it's like a battle box, like free for all or like multiplayer co-op, like you kind of like Arch Enemy, something like that. There are a series of rares and some mythics. Like Splinter is one of these cards where like the play pattern is you kill the co-ops creature and then you and a teammate or somebody, that's playing with you gets to draw a card. Where this is a little more defensible than say this Splinter and Leo that says, when it enters, you choose one or both. Each mode must target a different player. I guess you could have this come into play and only do one thing, which is target player makes a 2/2 or put a 1/1 counter on each other creature that player controls. That's kind of interesting. Like 3 mana 2/2 that you get to decide which of these modes you want is kind of interesting. But if you want to do both, I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. You get one. So there are some of these cards that they look like they could be okay, right? 3 mana 2/2 legend with ancient tomb mana. That when it comes into play, you get to make a 2/2. Or you get to buff your entire team other than Splinter and Leo. There's some play to that. I imagine Jason Jobin will kill somebody with this card. It's just not a card that I expect to see in our format in like 3 months or so. Hey there, Ben. I've finished working on my Dimir Blink deck list for EDH with Krang and Shredder as the commander. That card runs away with the game. Holy smokes. Thank you, Christoph, for this 26th month. Glad to have you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. There's some cool cards in the set. This one is so funny to me. It got mentioned on so there's a comic book series or a graphic novel series. I think Adam said they're making a video game out of this. There's probably like an animated special or something involving this. There's a storyline called The Last Ronin, where it's all the turtles are dead except for one, and then this turtle is kind of out for revenge. Actually, I think maybe this is bunk. Maybe there is another command that I missed, but I was pretty sure when I looked that there wasn't like that they just skipped a command. Okay, no, it's in here. Never mind. But long story short, you don't know which turtle it is until you get to that point of the story. Like it's kind of left secret which turtle is left over. It's worth reading. It's pretty cool. Anyways, the Last Ronin's technique, 3 and a white for an instant with sneak for 1 and a white. Create 3 1/1 white Ninja Turtle Spirit tokens. Ninja Turtle Spirit token. If the sneak cost was paid, they enter tapped and attacking. I think this card's pretty good for the token strategy. 4 mana, lot of mana, but 4 mana make 3 1/1s at instant speed. Pretty good. That's just Secure the Wastes. That card has seen play and won tournaments in Canadian Highlander in the past year. But if it's not Secure the Wastes, it's I've paid 2 and I've returned a token. I've returned an ETB creature. I've returned something. And I'm making 3 creatures that are tapped and attacking. Pushing damage. Triggering War Leader's Call. Getting buffed by War Leader's Call. Getting buffed by, I don't know, fucking God knows what. Increasing the power of your Adeline. Like, there's just a lot of play to this card in the token strategy that will kill somebody dead. Nick Nax for the 43rd month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. I'll talk about this card because it's a mythic. Doctor Who ass. Like, Triceraton Commander. XX white for a 2/2 dinosaur soldier with flying. Whenever this creature attacks, dinosaurs you control other than this creature get +1/+1, gain flying until end of turn. Whenever this creature enters, you make X 2/2 white dinosaur soldier tokens. Little expensive, right? 2/2 flyer. It's funny because, like, I would have just played this card because it's a 2/2 flyer back in the day. That happens to be a soldier. I may actually play this in soldiers, which is kind of a meme deck, but it's gotten a lot better over the past year or so. You have to put in 4 mana. I mean, when you put in 4 mana, you get 4 power, 2 of it flying across 2 bodies. And when it attacks, the other bodies get flying, and it's a mana sink. I understand why it's a mythic. This card is going to destroy games of limited and, you know, pretty scary in a tokens deck for Commander or whatever. But yeah. I don't know. I don't much care for this alt art or this style. There's some of the alternate printings in this set that look pretty good. I tend to like it when they do the old school comic book style. My relationship with the Turtles is that I mean, I watched the show when I was a child. So, like, both the late 80s one and the early 2000s one, and I watched the movies too, like the live action movies. I had no idea that they were making there's like a bunch of Turtles stuff that has been made. I never read the comics aside from The Last Ronin. But I've heard they were pretty good. Like, especially the original ones were a lot more, well, they're a lot darker. And there was a player at our shop that would like loved the Turtles. This was like 15 years ago, and they were kind of chilling. Yeah. So I don't have any like huge personal attachment to them. I do feel like, and this is probably going to get some people upset with me, I do feel like out of all the UB product, like this does feel a little Magic adjacent. The pizza stuff, less so, but like, I don't know, dog. We had ramen. We've had cup noodle for Universes Within or whatever. But like, there's enough weirdo stuff going on in here. If you're like, this is a metropolis in a world where it is mostly animals, and then some number of humans have omen path their way to here or whatever. There's a lot of technology getting used. There's a lot of, you know, ninjas, mysticism. I just don't, I mean, ultimately, I just don't care as much, but my reaction to a lot of this isn't as visceral than, you know, Assassin's Creed or Fallout or Doctor Who. Way too much pizza? I mean, yeah, it's kind of big. Like, didn't the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like save Pizza Hut or something? Like, I know their pizza, like they like pizza a lot. That's a big part of it. They're New Yorkers, right? And like they're turtles. Of course they eat gross shit. Like, I don't know. I look at some of the artwork in the set. I'm like, you know, this looks really unappetizing, and it's supposed to be. And that's kind of gross. And I wish I didn't have to look at some of this stuff. The good news is I don't really have to look at this stuff. I will say, not to punch down on people with like very specific eating needs, but I'll do it because it makes me feel better. It is very funny that you have like the overlap, the Venn diagram, I guess, of like terminally online social media Magic players and people that have visceral sensory issues with texture and goop and food. It's like a near perfect circle, you know? Like, I bet there's a non-zero, in fact, I would wager that there's a very large amount of people that look at some of that stuff and they're just like, no, that's disgusting. I don't want to look at it. I would never want to eat it. I would rather just eat my dinosaur chicken nuggets or whatever, you know? I don't know. Sometimes if I see goop with like ingredients on it that shouldn't be on it, I'm like, that's gross as hell. Then I move on. I don't know. I think I'm not getting too old for Magic. I'm getting too old for discussing Magic in social spaces. Where instead, what I should be like is somebody's like, Ben, haven't you seen these Turtles cards? Don't you fucking hate them? I'm like, I don't know. I'll play this one in Canlander. Anyways, yesterday, Angel and I set up the coax cable for the internet in a way that like goes around the threshold towards the kitchen, and it actually looks pretty good and it's quite secure. And we managed to do so without really kind of crossing paths of any of the paintings that we've hung up. Like, anyways, thanks, Angel. She was like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, no, you did the very important thing of passing me the little kind of lock pieces so that we could set it up. And also, she was a human being in the house that as I did it, if I fell and broke my fucking neck or back or pussy or my crack, she could call call an ambulance. And I was like, I need you here in case I fall because Mulder ain't calling 911. For the same reasons that I don't call 911. We don't like to talk to cops. Yeah, ladder buddy. Love a ladder buddy. Especially a big guy like myself. I gotta have a ladder buddy. Turncoat Kunoichi. 2 and a white for a 3/2 Mutant Ninja Fox with Sneak for 2 white and a black. When this creature enters, you choose a creature an opponent controls. Exile that creature until this creature leaves the battlefield. If the sneak cost was paid instead, exile the chosen creature. This card's kind of interesting. I think it might have some play in black-white, like black-white D&T. 4 mana to put this into play, exile something permanently, even if it gets killed, and return, I don't know, your Orcish Bowmasters, return your Solitude, your Recruiter of the Guard, your whatever, your Philia, doesn't matter. You return something and replay it. That's kind of exciting. Even just like, let me tell you how good like Fiend Hunters are in Canlander. It's going to be meta dependent for sure, but like my homie Brutal Cathar is so fucking good. Like you're a deck with 2 to 3 Mother of Runes. Like you'll be able to protect this card and you'll be able to just accrue value. Now with that's with the Brutal Cathar where just that shit keeps flipping over and over again, right? This one, it's more just like you'll protect it because you want to protect it, but also if you don't want to protect it, yeah, you just get to have it come in, rebuy a utility creature, and muck something forever. And that's cool. I haven't figured out whether or not this card does anything. Just texting Angel. Just texting Angel. I'm not sad. Turtles Forever. 3 and a white for an instant. Search your library and or outside the game for exactly 4 legendary creatures you own with different names, and reveal those cards. An opponent chooses 2 of them. You put the chosen cards into your hand and then shuffle the rest into your library. I don't know if there's a pile that kills people with this card. They wanted to be extra careful with this one. Like 4 mana, you get 2 legends. The others just get put back into your deck. I'm trying to think if there's some weirdo pile that you can set up, but there's just the fact that nothing's jumping to mind. Even thinking about like the creatures, the legendary creatures that are like busted for exactly this. Yeah, I imagine it's a bit too expensive. It's a bit too much. 4 Leonardos. 500 cigarettes. Hey, we have a bunch of April O'Neills that I'm going to say are not great. April O'Neil Hacktivist. 3 and a blue for a legendary human scientist. It's a 1/5, or she's a 1/5. And at the beginning of your end step, draw a card for each card type among spells you've cast this turn. A bit too expensive. The ability is very strong. The fact that it triggers off of every card type, not just non-creature card types, which is, you know, what you would assume with this kind of card, is pretty exciting. This is a card where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna just play this card in Commander or whatever. It doesn't really hit that like Hercule or Matoya, I think is her name. There are like a couple of these blue creatures with big asses that draw you cards for kind of playing Magic the Gathering. Some of them show up occasionally in like Scapeshift or Blue X decks that aren't Jeskai. And this is in that league, but it being 4 mana just kind of makes it not worth it. This card, not to Commander Post real quick, but not to Commander Post. Sorry that I'm going to Commander Post here. But April O'Neil, Human Element, 3 and a blue for a legendary human detective, a 2/5. Whenever a player casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, you make a mutagen. Holy shit. This card is so good for Commander. I mean, I'm excited to play this in CDH. A sentence I never thought I would say again. I have like 3 CDH decks. They're the same deck. I have Magda. I have Oswald Fiddlebender. And I have Urza Lord High Artificer. And this card's great in Urza, especially. I mean, it obviously can't play it in the other 2. I'm excited to play this card in that deck. Can Academy play this? No, there are just better cards, cheaper cards like Forensic Gadgeteer, Sahili Sublime Artificer. Yeah, not Canlander playable, but like pretty nuts kind of card, frankly. April O'Neil, live on the scene. 1 and a blue for a 2/1 legendary human detective. Whenever a mutant, ninja, or turtle you control enters, you investigate and has character select or partner character select. So fucking niche and narrow, but like obviously you play it in your turtle commander deck or whatever. Oh no, not that one. I am going to basically talk about every rare and mythic, even if they're not great, because who knows? Maybe some of these might surprise you. Not this one. Baxter, Fly in the Ointment. 3 and a blue for a 2/2 legendary insect mutant scientist. Whenever Baxter enters or attacks, each creature you control with a counter on it gains flying until end of turn. Whenever you draw a card, you put a 1/1 counter on Baxter. All right. Does Machines. 1 and a blue for an enchantment class. When this class enters, you mill 2 cards, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Level 2 for 1 and a blue. When this class becomes level 2, you return up to 2 target artifact cards from your graveyard to your hand. Mulder, you got your claw stuck in my hoodie. And then level 3 is 4 and a blue for, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3 counters on target artifact you control. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 artifact until, in addition to its other types. There's a bit too much going on here that doesn't really play super well. Mill 2 and then like Careful Study is not the most exciting card to play. Obviously, you want a Careful Study, discard some artifacts, and then return them. But first, I have to want to include this card, play this card, and then get to that level 2. And then level 3 legitimately will kill people, but we get to do that with Tezzeret, Cruel Captain, whom we already play in the decks that are going to want to play this card. So I think that it's just, it doesn't do enough. And the artifact decks, including the like Academy mid-range, Academy Control, like the Cube Academy decks, don't want this kind of card. Donatello, Gadget Master. 2 and a blue for a 3/2 legendary mutant ninja turtle with sneak for 1 and a blue. Whenever Donatello deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. We talked about this card kind of at length at the set review, where it's cool to have another ninja in blue. Like any of the ninjas that we get in the set with sneak, it's like if they're a ninja and they have the mechanic sneak, great. That's like that already puts them ahead of other ninjas in the sense that there's a blue-black ninjas deck in Highlander. This one has a very powerful ability, but not one that really plays well into the ninjas deck. I'm going to very quickly pull up the Highlander Winners Archive and look at the ninjas decks. Typically, the ninja decks use their points towards like Mox, Frog, Reanimate, and like some Delve spells or whatever. It's been a hot minute since Ninjas has won an event, I will say. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that, well, it just hasn't, you know, this is the case of the person that played Ninjas won a bunch with Ninjas and then decided to swap to something else. Yeah, that the artifacts that are typically played in Ninjas, just looking at some of the lists here that have won tournaments, or my own list, it's like Moxen and Retrofitter Foundry. So not really doing a huge amount with this. It's a very powerful ability. Maybe it's fine to just like include it in a different strategy, but like you kind of have to figure out where. I hate cards like this because it's a puzzle, but it's a puzzle where like, dog, if I waste my time doing this, it means I'm not going to be, you know, putting up results. But maybe that's okay because I don't put up results anyways because I'm fucking terrible. I already complained about last Monday night when I played Paradox, and I just got like fucking dummied by my opponent's cards happening to line up perfectly with what I have, and I was like, never again. I'm done with Paradox. At least in its current iteration, I'm done with it. It's fine. Well, it's fine. We'll move on. Donatello, Mutant Mechanic, 3 and a blue for a 3/5 legendary mutant ninja turtle that has tap. Put 3 1/1 counters on target artifact you control. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot creature in addition to its other types. Activate only as a sorcery. And whenever an artifact you control is put to the graveyard from play, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 target artifact or creature you control. Powerful abilities. A little too commandery, unfortunately. Like, animating artifacts kills people. It's just, It's just a lot. This is a fucked up ability to put under Egtha's Soul Cauldron for what it's worth. Maybe there's a world where you have some kind of Soul Cauldron combo with like this and an Untapper and God knows what. But that's just so much work. Donatello Rad Scientist. 5 and a blue for a 5/6 legendary mutant ninja turtle with vigilance. When it enters, tap up to 3 target creatures your opponents control, put stun counters on each of them. I mean, that's annoying. Don't think that's worth playing, but that's really annoying. That's expensive. Holy. Donatello's Technique. 2 and a blue for a sorcery that has sneak for a single blue. Draw 2 cards. This one's kind of interesting. Not to get the pauper players all worked up, but Of One Mind is a Magic card that I would love to try and find a way to play it in Canadian Highlander. I don't think it has a home. Maybe in the aforementioned Blue-Black Ninjas deck, it's worth a shot. And then maybe you want to play this one as well. Like a single blue, draw 2 cards. Busted. Broken. Unbelievable. Have you read Thoughtcast? Now, obviously, there's additional cost to be paid here. But if we can use this with other ninjas, great. The sorceries and instants that have sneak play so much better than creatures with the double sneak. So let's say I attack and one of my ninjas is like unblocked or whatever. And then I can sneak it back with Donatello's Technique and then ninjutsu the ninja that I've just returned either at a later time or even on that turn itself to like guarantee that I'm pushing the damage here. I mean, I was likely getting that creature through anyways, but for some ninjas, like Moon Circuit Hacker comes to mind, you really want to get that combat trigger the turn it comes into play. What about mono blue mid-range deck for Of One Mind? Maybe. I'd have to look at the creature counts. That deck is like filled to the brim though. That's the problem. Donatello the Brains. 2 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary mutant ninja turtle with if one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a mutagen token are created instead. So this card's pretty reasonable. Any time we get one of these cards that says if a token's made, make another token, you always have to consider them for like the 4-color food or the game object deck that, whether you like it or not, has won tournaments in the past year, multiple tournaments. You got to consider it. It's made better by the fact that 1, it's blue. 2, it has 4 toughness, so it survives a lot of the burn spells, a lot of removal. Not to mention, so many of these cards for some reason are 2/4s, which is so fucking hard to get through. And then 3, it is making artifact tokens. Anytime you get an artifact token instead of just a token, like even just like if somebody said like, what would you rather have? Gay son or thought daughter? I would say, sorry, can you repeat the question? They go, what would you rather have? Like a 0/1 plant or a mutagen token in your deck that's not going to kill your opponent through combat damage? I pick the mutagen token every time. Just getting additional artifacts is huge. I might play this. There's also a deck beyond that Sultai Time Sieve deck that I've played that, God, I should try to play that deck in paper. It might be tough. I said I'd never played in paper because it's so fucking tough to like manage, but I think it would be pretty good in the Yellow Jacket meta. But this card's a slam dunk in that. Oi, Shivam, how you doing, bud? Oh, I got the hiccups now. Not because of Shivam, just in general. Donnie and April, a dorkable duo. 4 and a blue for a legendary mutant ninja human turtle. You get a 3/3 that says when Donnie and April enter, choose one or both. Each mode must target a different player. Target player draws 2 or target player returns an artifact, instant, or sorcery from the graveyard to your hand. Very funny that we have another 5 mana, like, this is a 5 mana card that can go infinite with Time Walk. And because it's a legend, you could go infinite with Time Walk and Caracas and this card. And I don't think that's I don't think that's something that has existed. I'm not saying you should run out and do it, but you know, that's not nothing. Anytime you get a new kind of kooky interaction like this, it's worth thinking about. Mulder, I get it. You've had a poop. Hi. 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 Oh, who's a baby? Who's a baby? Who's a baby? Fugitive Droid. 1 blue for a 1/1 artifact creature robot scientist. This creature can't be blocked if an artifact enters the battlefield under your control this turn. Pay a blue, sack this creature, counter target spell that targets an artifact or creature you control. Not being blocked if an artifact enters is kind of nice, although this isn't pushing that much damage. Being able to protect one of your things is interesting, but this requires a whole ass slot, and I don't think I want to pay a slot for this kind of card. That's it. Man versus Manatee back for the 23rd month. Is this the set that finally makes Embiggen worth it? We can only hope. We can only hope. Thank you so much for all the support. Hope you're doing well. I mean, the Embiggen in Infect is funny because there are so many targets that are, you know, your like floor for Embiggen in that in Infect is Giant Growth. And then there are some +4/+4 targets in that deck. I think that's kind of exciting. This card's so commandery. This card is also very commandery. And this card is also very commandery. Funny enough, only one, or no, this one's in the main set. Whatever. Trees Inland, back for the 2nd month. Thank you so much for this continued support. Hope you're doing well. We love the 2-monthers. Love the 2-monthers. Can't get enough of the 2-monthers. Thank you, thank you. Damn, Charlie Parker, how many fucking albums you put out? Just upset that one of the greatest musicians of all time put out a shitload of work. God, I hate this guy. Where's your sextet plays? We'll just listen to the self-title. I'm not talking about this. We can talk about this one. Krang Mastermind. 6 blue for a legendary artifact creature. It's a 1/4. It's an Utrom warrior. Okay. Affinity for artifacts. And when Krang enters, if you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, you draw cards equal to the difference. And Krang gets +1/+0 for each other artifact you control. So the like triple Mox Tolarian Academy or like Mox Academy, Ancient Tomb, Saga, Mana Vault, whatever, mid-range decks are very funny to me because like they're always really like they're not good. They're like not embarrassing, but they're not like you don't sleeve it up and you're like, damn, I'm going to coast through this event. You sleeve it up and go, damn, I didn't draw a Tolarian Academy or an Ancient Tomb, and now I'm going to 5. Or my opponent just had Collector Roof, or whatever. Like, they're not the best Academy decks. They're not the best way to use Academy. They're a way to use Academy, and they're fun. And people really like them, and they've been around forever. So, they're worth talking about. And this card is pretty good in that kind of deck. Or like an Academy ramp deck, because you just draw a bunch of cards for a relatively low amount of mana. Yeah, not much to say. It's kind of like a built-in cranial plating, kind of like a Master of Ethereum. Draws you cards. It's likely going to cost 2 to 3 mana. The more of this type of card you get, the better your deck gets. It's so funny because you look at them and you're like, don't we have enough Mirror Enforcers? And the answer is no. Like, you really just want your deck to be like Moxen, Mana Rocks, Baubles, cheap artifacts that replace themselves, that have utility, like your Pithing Needles, your Aether Spellbomb, Soul Guide Lantern, whatever, Ghost Vacuum, and then these dumbasses. I haven't seen this card. Krang All Powerful. 5 mana, 3/3 legendary artifact, Utrom Robot. If a player drawing a card causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. Very funny. Very, so specific. Kind of cool. Commander card. I had no idea this card was even in the set. Mondo Gecko. 1 blue for a 2/3 legendary lizard mutant. You pay 1 generic and discard a card. Until end of turn, Mondo Gecko becomes a color of your choice and gains hexproof from that color. And says, whenever Mondo Gecko deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card for each color among permanents you control. So, this card's a mythic rare. Very weird. Like, his first ability is pretty good. This second ability is also pretty good. But I have to play a 3 mana 2/3 that realistically I want to play with 4 mana. So I'm going to say no. I mean, I'm just a sucker for any Ophidian. I look at this card and I'm like, holy shit, I could draw 2 cards. 3 cards even. No. This card would have fucked like 10 years ago when Bant Blade was a thing, but maybe not now. Also, regrettably, I think it was more than 10 years ago. Ray Fillet Wave Warrior. 2 and a blue for an 0/2 legendary fish mutant with flying. Evolve. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This one's not bad. It's a little tough to get going, obviously. Like, you need to untap with it. It's vulnerable, but like, you could play it and draw a card immediately with one of your other creatures. And then as you evolve this card, you now have an evasive creature that's going to start drawing cards. Post Malone jump scare? Is Post Malone in this art? Hey! Post Malone, he was in the Epstein files, right? This isn't a bit. This is like a legit, there's a photo of him with some other guy in the Epstein files. And it turns out him and that other guy were somehow involved. Anyways, you can look that up for yourselves, folks. He voiced Ray Fillet. Well, Renee, Temporal Apprentice. 3 blue for a legendary human wizard, a 4/3 with flash. When Renee enters, return each other non-land permanent that entered this turn to its owner's hand. Holy shit. This card's annoying in Commander. I don't think it's good in Canlander, but it's annoying in Commander. Yoink. Mulder, why are you whining? You got your food? You got some water? Are you pooping? What are you doing? 1 second. Let me attend to my annoying cat. Hey. Hey. all your heat pads off. Hi. Hello, everybody. I have returned. It is noon, so I brought my zero sugar Dr. Pepper. And I also brought the 3 homemade Parmesan crisps that I'm allowed to eat as a snack. Any oregano? No, I went with, it's a mix of Parmesan cheese, cheddar cheese, basil, a lot of chili. And this is something, I'm not going to turn this as a rant against Americans. You have it hard enough. But when you say chili, when Americans say chili powder, they mean something completely different from what I'm used to. When they say chili powder, they mean like a chili spice mixture. When I say chili powder, I mean like crushed ground peppers that add a kick. I have ran into an issue with this. Now we've moved past this. We figured it out. We've course corrected. Ran into an issue this with Angel, where I made a recipe that used chili powder, and it was a little too hot for her. Very tasty though. Good crisp. Been doing good on your weight loss journey? That's right. Your boy is down 30 pounds over the past 2 months? No, it's not 2 months. It's like 6 weeks. 30 pounds in 6 weeks. It's pretty good. You can see it in my face. You know what the fucked up thing is too? My beard is so long right now. Like, I have a big bushy beard. I'm getting my beard trimmed on Tuesday. It's going to be interested in seeing it. Like, seeing what it looks like, what my face and neck look like after I get this beard trimmed too. But yeah, I've been staying the course. The fact that Angel was here at home for the past, or my house for the past 2 weeks, and I was staying on my goal was great. She got a keto cookbook. We made some recipes. I did go at the top end of what my limit allows. You know, I try to get myself as low on carbs as possible, but I can have a range of 20 to 30. I'm not shaving it completely, no. I'm just getting it trimmed. It's real bushy. But yeah, you know, it's pretty good. There was a recipe, I'll talk about this card in a second, but trust me, this is more interesting than turtles. There was a recipe for like strawberry ice cream, which used like, it was keto, right? It's like use some frozen strawberries, a small amount, cream cheese, whipping cream, the liquid form, vanilla, and then it wanted you to add some artificial sweetener, but Angel hates artificial sweetener, so we just didn't have it. So it was like basically vanilla, salt, cream cheese, I think a total of 8 strawberries blended. Holy shit, it tasted exactly like ice cream to me. It's so funny. Anything that is even slightly sweet on this diet, like any amount of sugar in this diet, and I am just fucking, it tastes like candy. It's great. Green beans too. Like some of the veggies that have a bit more. It's sweet. She hates Diet Coke? Oh yeah. And yet I still love her. How can you explain this, huh? Sewer Valence Cam. For a single blue, you get an artifact with flash. When it enters or leaves play, you can tap or untap target creature, and you can pay 3 and a blue to sack this and draw 2 cards. I'm keeping my eye on this card. I haven't thought about it too much, but I'm keeping my eye on this card. It can draw 2 cards, and when it comes into play, you can, or leaves play, you can like muck a blocker, you can untap your own thing. This card can go infinite with a couple of different setups, right? Like Goblin Welder and this card. Yeah, it's a Retraction Helix combo card, and it just draws cards. Just draws cards. I gotta break out my welders again. That deck is so funny. Like 2023 or whatever, I brew these welder decks. I like take down like 3 events with them, and then the other 2 that I played it at, I lost in the finals, all with different color spreads. And then just Modern Horizons 3 comes out. That deck gets nothing. Oh. Anyways, cool card. Oh. This is so much. Holy shit. Utrom Monitor. 4 and a blue for an Utrom Scientist artifact creature. Affinity for artifacts and flying. Kind of the same thing I said about Cram. I'll play this card. It goes in that deck. I'm going to eat this cheese crisp. Yeah, it's fine. It does the thing. I got a thought. Tell you what. I know that this is, I'm saying this to an audience that is willing to listen to me talk about what is quite possibly one of the least exciting sets, at least in terms of hype of the year, of the past years. Almost as bad as Spider-Man, if not worse. I think this set is cooler than Spider-Man on a couple of reasons. And also just the cards in Spider-Man were pretty good. I think the cards in this are actually pretty good. But I digress. Because you're listening to me talk about this while I'm eating these Parmesan crisps, you're probably going to say yes. But I was thinking about doing this for every new set. Is that I do a quick video where I talk about some of the archetypes that get new spice from the set, and I'm like, hey, this Turtles brought us these cards that go in these archetypes. Here are some sample versions of these archetypes. Let me talk about how this card works, how it synergizes, yada yada. So like I'd build a version of like an affinity deck with this card and Krang and Chrome Dome and whatnot, and be like, check this out. If you wanted to build this, this is a list you could use, yada yada. I think it'd be kind of fun. Probably the worst possible fucking set to start with to do that, but kind of cool. I'm looking at it for a purely mechanical standpoint for my sanity. Yep. It's okay. I've disconnected completely. Disconnected from it completely. Although this has happened over the course of many, many years. Doing keto bread, going without bread instead. I haven't had bread for like 2 months. Angel has made biscuits that use some amount of almond and or coconut flour. But it's mostly egg. Focusing in the kitchen, taking walks. I've been very off my schedule on my walks. But typically I walk about 50 kilometers in a week. And then I have a workout. This is stupid. I totally, to preface this, and let me finish this cheese crisp and then I'll stop. Okay. You got to understand. I'm going to give you some context before I tell you what I do in a day. When I was younger, like 17, 16, I was fat. Like fat. Like I was 400 pounds fat. At my highest weight, I was 420 pounds. And I realized I needed to cut that shit out immediately because I wanted to get laid. So I started doing that. And I found that one of the best ways for me to do that, other than, you know, changing my diet drastically, and going for runs, I started running and all that. God bless my young bones. Was this pre-releasing? Yes. Pre-releasing is like post, like before I started working out a lot and right before, or sorry, right after I stopped drinking and doing blow and, right and partying and right before I started working out. Long story short, one of the things that I would do to work out to keep me honest, and I kid you not, I'd sit in my room, I'd watch an episode of Hajime no Ippo, and I would do 20 push-ups in the intro, 20 crunches at the like ad break in the middle, and like 20 squats at the ending. And I would sit there every night just marathoning episodes, right? And just doing that. Fast forward to today, where now my like daily regimen is I try to walk 10K a day. And I try to do 100 push-ups a day, 100 curls a day. And I do some yoga too. I mean, it's mostly stretching, but yoga is stretching, that kind of thing. It's really funny. It's really funny to think about, but it actually feels so good. I just started doing the push-ups because I have an injury from rugby where like the muscles between my ribs are like, I had scar tissue there. And I had to, push-ups are one of the best ways to do that. Not to mention, like to exercise that, but not to mention push-ups are a great way to open up your sinuses. Your body's like, fuck, I gotta breathe. To hell with these allergies. And that was nice. And then I just thought, wouldn't it be funny if I did 100 in a day? And now that's just what I do. I don't always get to 100. Sometimes I'm like, damn, I've done 80 and I feel like I'm just going to cheat on the last 20, so I'm going to call it there. But I try to get to 100 every time. That shit is so funny. Am I the most allergic man in existence? I have terrible sinus issues. It's like a large part of why I am like red. The other part is probably just a fucked up concoction of I someone that likes to go out into the sun. And my mom's Irish genes have beaten the shit out of my dad's Brazilian genes. So, you know. Anyways, on to red, or black, or whatever this is. I mean, I am. Armagon, Future Shark. 6 black for a 9/6 legendary shark horror mutant with flash. Shark warning, by the way. I mean, this one doesn't really look like a shark. None of them really do. They all have like arms and tails, and well, sharks have tails. I didn't give the shark warning. Angel and I have talked about the sharks in this set not being that bad. When it enters, you destroy up to 3 target creatures. There's kind of a fun space with this card where it is mono black that effectively just says wrath your opponent's board. That's not nothing. Archon of Cruelty, still like the best reanimation target. But 9/6 wrath your board is pretty fucking good. I don't think this card is a mainstay in reanimator decks, but I think this is a card worth considering, especially if you're like, I'm playing mono black reanimator or mono black reanimator mid-range or whatever. And I just want a threat that if the game goes long, I could just cast. Alder Iris, welcome back for the 8th month. Haven't been able to catch a stream in a second. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Flash is kind of pointless in reanimator. Yeah. And you don't choose a background when you include gut in the deck. That don't matter. How often do you get a battle off of Atraxa? That don't matter. There are cards with words that don't really do much all over the place. This card doesn't really do a ton. The hell does this do? Put 2 counters target creature. Number counters among permanents you control. I think this does enough. Bebop is good. You got to put counters on it. It doesn't do anything. It's a 2-mana 2/1 death touch. Deals combat damage. You draw X counters where X is number of counters on it. Or draw X cards, X number of counters on it. It doesn't put counters on itself. There's just so many better cards to play over this. We got Bob. We've got Bob. Some of these commander cards are really commandering. It draws the partner. Yeah, but then you have to pay this like 6 mana fucking show me your trophies. Beg for your life and show me your trophies. No. It's a 3-drop. I swear to God, if this card is dog shit, I'm timing you out. This card better not be dog water. It's called, what is it, Rocksteady? Three mana, 3/3 trample. Whenever another non-token creature you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. All right. I don't think you should be playing these cards, but I won't time you out. You're just you're misinformed. I'm not talking about that card. Ivy Street Denizen. Foot Chopper. Create a thing attached, has flying, deals combat damage, sack it, draw cards, go with this power. Boy, these cards are dookie. Foot. Dookie. This one, Ninja Teen. 2 and a black for an enchantment class. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1. Level 2, for 1 and a black, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have menace. And level 3 for single black. Creature cards in your graveyard have sneak for 3 in the black. You can cast creature spells from your graveyard using their sneak abilities. I don't think this card is going to make it into Aristocrats necessarily, but it does have a lot of good going for it. That's a card that's a deck rather that, you know, wants as many Blood Artist style effects as it can get. The fact that this is a Blood Artist ability that doesn't target is nice, and losing life is nice. Giving your board +1/+1 menace is a fucking ton of damage, especially when you have a bunch of tokens that you're making. And then the level 3, very cheap to activate. And yeah, things die. You'll be able to sneak them into play and do something. This is not, it's not a card that I would recommend you like go out and immediately include, but I am also not like, I don't want to shit on this card because I think it does something. Oh, what up, Pep? How you doing, bud? How do you feel about turtles, bud? Orokusaki Shredder Rising. 2 and a black for a 3/1 legendary human ninja. With sneak for 1 and a black. Whenever Orokusaki deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and lose a life. Great. Ninja, the D powers and friends, they all have more than 1 toughness, which except for Moon Circuit Hacker, but I'm talking about the ones that always draw a card, don't discard a card. They all have more than 1 toughness, which makes it a little bit easier for those cards to, like, you know, repeatedly attack. But a lot of the times, 2 toughness is not that much different, right? You just need that board clear when you're making your attacks. So just having another ninja that you can pay 2 to put into play and draw a card, kind of nice. Yeah, not the worst thing in the world. I imagine this card will show up in the ninjas deck. Good little role player. Rat King. I'm going to talk about this one. Rat King Verminister. 1 and a black, it's a legendary creature, Rat Avatar, for 1/1. Beginning of your end step, if a permanent left the battlefield under your control this turn, you create a 1/1 black rat creature token. You put a 1/1 counter on Rat King. And then you can tap and sacrifice 3 rats, including itself. You return target creature card and all other cards with the same name as that card from your graveyard to play tapped. That's kind of cool. Being able to just like being a 2-drop that can start generating tokens the turn it comes into play is not nothing. That's real fucking annoying. And then after you've done it twice, or just so happen to have another rat lying around, you get an instant speed reanimation card. I think this card will be pretty good in Aristocrats. I think that we could maybe see a world with this card in tokens as well. Yeah, it just, the play pattern of like, I play this on 2, I fetched, so I get a 1/1 rat and a token. I've made an attack where a thing died. I had to sacrifice a token or whatever. Go to make this thing bigger and get a rat. And then now I can tap and sack this and the 2 rats I've made to reanimate any creature from my graveyard at instant speed. Wait, return target creature and all other cards with the same name from your graveyard. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, kind of cool. Yeah, and the fact that they accommodate for the commander players that want the rat colonies and their relentless rats, but also just don't want to play Maronar or Ashcoat, I think that's pretty cool. That's a nice little touch. You know, doesn't like push this card over the edge or anything. I mean, who knows in standard? Maybe it's pretty good, but yeah. Sure. Shark Shredder Killer Clone, Shark Alert, although this one doesn't even look like a shark. 2 and 2 black for a 4/4 legendary Shark Octopus Ninja. It has first strike and it has sneak for 3 black. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can put up to 1 target creature from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It enters tapped and attacking. That's kind of good. It's expensive, really expensive. I mean, it is Inkai's mana, right? Inkai's is Ninjutsu for 5. This card is so fucking cool. Inkai's Servant of Oni might just be one of the coolest Magic cards of all time. Look at this shit. Wayne Reynolds went so hard on this card. Oh my god. But yeah, you get to reanimate their thing. And guys can obviously regenerate. This one doesn't. But the first strike and the getting the creature immediately can push a ton of damage. I don't think this card's going to see play. But it's a category of card where I don't plan to play it. I don't plan on recommending other people play it. And I will die to this, you know? The card designs in the set are great. It's just, you know, they're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And if that's a thing you care about, you might not like it. I could see Nelson sleeving it up. Of course, it's a black card that is like maybe not great. When are we getting UB Street Sharks? Are Street Sharks made by the same like is it the same person that made this? Same question with Biker Mice from Mars, because they're all kind of in that same kind of sphere for me. Shredder's Technique, 2 and a black for a sorcery that has sneak for a single black. Destroy target creature or enchantment. If an enchantment was destroyed this way, you lose 2 life. Sneak on a sorcery, like we said before, pretty good, especially when it's like cheap. Being able to blow up an enchantment is nice for a single black. Gets rid of that Blood Moon. Especially because like the play pattern of this card against Blood Moon is pretty funny, because typically when you're playing Blood Moon, you like, I mean, not typically, but like there's a play pattern of like they're taking a turn off to play the Blood Moon, right? Which means that they're not playing anything too defensive to the board, nor are they mucking with your creatures. So for a single black mana, you can just blow up the Blood Moon in your black X deck. That's pretty sick. Or you could just use your excess red mana to blow it up. Pretty nice. The fact that this is 1 mana at times and can kill Psychic Frog, a Pornoculus. I mean, good luck killing. Good luck getting it in where you know they had an Pornoculus and you managed to get an unblocked creature, but it's okay. Also, the kill spell for this is so good because like you attack with 3 things. They block in such a way that it's like, well, I'm going to eat your best thing. Then you're like, okay, pay a black, sneak this card into play, kill your Aki that was blocking, so my creature never dies, and that's cool. Does Withering Torment see play? It's seen Withering Torment and Feed the Swarm have seen like niche play. I wouldn't call them Highlander cards. I have seen them in lists in the Winner's Archive occasionally. I think they're very lost in the sauce cards, but this one is a bit better. That's why both cards have the rock and art. Dominic Mayer, the in joke of like of like shitting on Dominic Mayer. I mean, shitting on him is a strong word, but like just like, hey, yo, Dominic, do you mind making a new piece for the set? Now, don't make it look too much like your previous ones. You got it, boss. Oh, no, Dominic, no! Not the red and the black. And no, Dominic, no! Don't look up the Biker Mice from Mars. Too late. Controversy. Who's the creator? Rick Ungar. I mean, this is probably made as a joke, but it'd be very funny if there was an issue with this guy. Oh, he did the X-Men. He did the 80s X-Men. He was a real piece of shit? That's nowhere on his Wikipedia. I think Wikipedia pages need to be like, this dude was an asshole. This guy's a real dick. Guy runs the Daily Centrist. Well, yeah, he's old and white. What do you expect? There we go. Splinter, Hamato Yoshi. 1 and a black for a 1/3 legendary mutant ninja rat with sneak for a single black, menace, and other ninjas you control get +1/+1. Any kind of ninja, ninjutsu, sneak, whatever, that costs a single black mana. Pretty exciting. That's pretty exciting. Sorry, I got distracted by the 100 card mono white pre-modern deck that what the fuck? A 112 card mono white control deck 5-0 to pre-modern league. Don't you just love Magic the Gathering? Holy shit. I would never play pre-modern. It's a solved format. Huh? Then somebody even wrote a rundown. Why is it so big? It makes it so your opponent has to win. By default, you win every game as you'll deck your opponent. It lets you abuse Thawing Glaciers, Eternal Dragon, and Grafted Skullcap. Makes your silver bullets less punishing, and you have 4 Enlightened Tutors. This deck rules. Oh! By the way, we are going to have a pre-modern Friday night paper fight. It's finally is happening. We're doing a pre-modern FNPF. With Benny Wheels supplying the cards. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm very excited. Anyways, the Splinter. It's a 1-mana ninja that buffs other ninjas that also has menace, meaning that can facilitate other ninjas. Great. Great card for it. You'll never believe it. The Ninjas deck. Splinter's Technique for 3 and a black. You get a sorcery with sneak for 1 and a black. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. So this is an easier to cast Diabolic Tutor. A card that isn't actually that embarrassing to play. You know, it's not an embarrassing card to play at all. It's not something people are like, God, no, not a Diabolic Tutor deck. But like, yeah, we were playing Diabolic Tutor in like tournament winning Stormless somewhat recently in the grand scheme of things. This one's also just a bit easier to cast for only a single black. But if you get the sneak going, you know, I attack with my Blood Pet and I sneak this out, or my Wild Cantor, or my Trinket Mage. Sneaking this for Trinket Mage is diabolical. Trinket Mage, Find Lotus. I'll attack, sneak this. Find Yawgmoth's Will. Kind of spicy. There's also, I talked about it in the North 100 set review. I have a version of Storm I'd like to work on that plays a bunch of the like 1-mana 1/1s that have died. Sorry, the 1-mana 1/1s that when they die they make a treasure token. And all the Blood Pets. I haven't fully put it together, but like it's something I've talked about. I think it could be real. You get Culling the Weak and shit. Surprised you haven't played more pre-modern? Yeah, the problem is they don't do well. The VODs don't really do well. For instance, I mean, I have fun playing it. Sometimes you just do something because it's for, you know, because you enjoy it. It's good for the soul. But like full disclosure, my survival welder VOD only got just over 2,000 views and made me $50, which is pretty good, all things considered. My ad revenue was fucked, and I mean I know why, but it's very funny. It's just fucked. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna pick a cube VOD from around the same time. Here. God, there wasn't a lot of cube around that time. Cube VOD. From around the same time. 3,500 views. That has generated me $120. And I can just sit there and rattle off cubes, right? It's so easy. I don't have to pick the deck. I don't have to do any. I get to just cube. I get to yap. We do it for about 5 hours. Just do that 5 times a week. YouTube does. Yeah, I don't entirely know why. I think it's, well, I have an idea. It's because my VODs are like 3 to 6 hours. People put them on while they work or fall asleep. And I have no shame in maxing out the ad revenue from them. Because it's like, if you want to watch them there, you can watch them there. But like, I better get some of that shmoney. Also, YouTube's just easier. They don't block YouTube at a lot of jobs don't block YouTube, because I know this used to be my white collar job. A lot of companies host all of their training videos on YouTube. Training videos, onboarding videos, testing, like videos that they're testing. That shit's all on YouTube, or they need to go to YouTube for their work and look at stuff. So it's not blocked. Twitch is blocked. Anyways. Splinter the Mentor. 1 in a black for a 2/2 legendary mutant ninja rat. Menace. Whenever Splinter or another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, you make a mutagen. Just not doing enough. Just not doing enough. It attacks for 2. It doesn't have sneak itself or do anything. Just make a mutagen tokens. It's just you partner with it and you do something, but not here. Not here. Not now. Super Shredder. 1 in a black for a 1/1 legendary mutant ninja human with Menace. And whenever another permanent leaves the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on Super Shredder. This card will fucking kill people. This card will kill people. It gets so big. It's just leave the battlefield. Fetch lands, creatures dying, tokens being sacrificed, like treasure, food, clues, stuff getting returned to hand. Holy shit, this card is it gets so big. It's a bit of a downside if you draw it later. Damn, that's a pretty cool artwork. All right, that's pretty good too. Yeah, the card just hits the table and it gets huge and kills them. And even if you draw it late, at least it has Menace and can like chip in. Not much to say about this card. I imagine it'll show up across a variety of Black X decks for sure. Expensive, very expensive. Onto red. God, there's some bad cards here. Casey Jones, Jury Rig Justiciar. 1 and a red for a 2/1 with haste. Legendary Human Berserker. When Casey Jones enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal an artifact from among them, put it into your hand. The rest go on the bottom of the library in a random order. Not that bad. Not that bad. It's a Glintnest Crane, or there's like a pirate that does it. The problem is that it's not an artifact, so it's, you put it in your deck, you dilute the amount of artifacts you can hit. It's not hitting itself, but you kind of want more than one, and it's just, that's a little tough. The haste is kind of fun. The fact that you can Caracas it. Worst Staunch Crewmate. You mean better staunch crewmate. You want this to get Caracas. This has haste. The fact that this is blue is pretty nice, but red is like the second artifact color. Finds your clamp, wears your clamp. Yeah. This card is fucking weird. Casey Jones, Vigilante. 1 red for a legendary human berserker. It's a 4/3. It's a Goongala. When Casey Jones enters, you draw 3 cards. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you discard 3 cards at random. Weird fucking card. I don't think it's one of these cards where like you play it on 3, you might fuck up the rest of your game, and you get a 4/3, which would have been exciting 10 years ago, but not now. You draw it later on. Maybe you can have it hit the table, draw some cards, make your land drop, play a removal spell, play a cheap creature, or fire off something in your upkeep with the trigger on the stack. That's kind of exciting. Very funny to have this card hit the table. You play out your hand so that you have less than 3 cards. It gets Caracas, and then you have to discard it. That's really fucking funny. I don't think this card is good, but I'll play it. I want to look at a black-red hyper-aggressive discard deck. Just like black-red, you look to get to 3, and then you play all this bullshit that your opponent has to kill. Right? Like that they have to get rid of. Rotting Regisaur, the new Bebop and Rocksteady, that stupid green goblin. You're probably a Blood Moon deck. So you can, you know, lock people out as well. You could do some stuff. Oh, excuse me. That Dr. Pepper had me feeling something. Casey and Raph Hotheads. 4 and a red for a legendary mutant ninja human turtle. A 4/4. When Casey and Raph enter, choose one or both. Each player must target a different player. Target player makes 2 treasure tokens. Target player exiles the top card of their library until that player's... Oh, it's not until you hit a non-land. I thought it was until you hit a non-land. I thought, oh, let's play this in Cascade. No. Weird that this pair didn't get a card in the main set. You know? Cool, but rude. 1 and a red for an enchantment class. Level 1, whenever you attack, you can discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. Level 2, for 1 and a red, whenever you discard a card, this class deals 2 damage to each opponent. And level 3, for 1 and a red, when this class becomes level 3, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle, then discard a card at random. So, 2 mana per level. Pretty reasonable. Level 1, just whenever you attack, you get to rummage. Pretty strong in the decks that care about discarding cards. And then level 2, fucked up. Legit fucked up. Like, this card's going to kill people. Like, 2 damage per discard. It's not whenever you discard 1 or more. Every time a card is discarded, they take 2. And that's what your deck's built around. And then, if you're a gambling man like I am, you get to level 3, and you get a gamble. We just get gamble. Very cool card. Very exciting card. This is one of those cards where I'm excited for Angel and I to play some Canlander. And to play this bad boy. I'm not... Electric Seaweed. 2 and 2 red for a plant wall with Defender and Haste, and it's an 0/4. When this creature enters, until end of turn, whenever another creature dies, this creature deals 1 damage to each non-wall creature. Tap. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. Look, I'm here to talk about Canadian Highlander. But when I get a new wall for my Hans Eriksson Looney Tunes commander deck. I gotta talk about it. This card is quite... This card is so funny. It's so fucking funny. That's it. Might kill my own Hans. Doesn't matter. Just give me a pinger. Improvised Arsenal Goongala. 1 in a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Pay 4 in a red, create a token that's a copy of this equipment, and equip 1. I think if you're building the artifacts, like the affinity deck or whatever, I think adding, like, I think Izzet is where you want to start. And then you can decide to go to Jeskai or Grixis. But I think Izzet is probably just good enough. You know, maybe your mana's terrible either way. Who cares? This card's kind of messed up. It's cranial plating with some heavy colored mana costs, which is why I want to just go 2 color. But that activated ability ends games very quickly. Like, blue-red, you're on like Mox Academy plus whatever. And you just have these bots that get bigger. This card's going to be a great mana sink for exactly that. A lot of chaff. Old Hob Alley Cat Blues. I didn't even realize this activated ability was Boros. That's kind of cool. I think there's a cycle of uncommon legends. Yeah, there must be. Because Koya is white-black. Venus is green-blue. This is red-white. Is there... Oh, there's the blue-red metalhead. And then... Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Anybody tells me you're getting shot. What's the black? Is there a black green? What's the black green one? Did I pass the black green one? Oh, this has a green. The insect guy. Okay. I didn't know. I didn't even notice that was green. Ryu. I think I want to work on my Ken. I have a Ken that plays like no other Ken, I've been told. And that character's so fucking fun. I tried playing Ed yesterday. That character makes no sense to me. I'm not an Ed player. I tried playing Ed, and then my computer printed out a 23andMe saying that I'm 0% Japanese. Said I can't play. Computer disregard? Let's find a card that we can talk about. Raphael's Technique. 4 red for an instant. With Sneak, 2 in a red. Each player may discard their hand and draw 7 cards. I think draw 7s are fucking terrible in Canlander. And I used to be the live by the draw 7, die by the draw 7. I made my money playing these terrible cards. No, not about it. Not about it whatsoever. I'm off it. Jesus Christ, these things are expensive. This one's cool. Raphael the Night Watcher. 2 and 2 red for a legendary mutant ninja turtle. With Sneak for 1 red. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. I think this card's quite good. You know, it might not end up seeing play because there's some weaknesses to it. Obviously, dies to bolt, gets Caracas, needs the attacking creature, costs 4 when you play it by itself. But I think it ends the game if it hits play. And that's kind of sick, right? It hits play, and your opponent's like, oh, okay, well, chances are, this is the thing with Sneak, right? Is that a lot of the times, Sneak means 1 damage is turning into blank damage, like end damage. And in this case, 1 damage is turning into minimum 4 damage. That's not even accounting for other unblocked creatures you control, or creatures that were blocked with the expectation of training that now have double strike, which means they're going to kill it off and not die to first strike, whatever. Not to mention, you don't expect sneak, right? The red deck attacks you. You can expect a bunch of stuff from red in combat. It's all bad, but like sneak coming in, whoo, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. 1 damage is actually 4 damage. $6 is $5. How much is $7.99? How much is $7.99? $10. $7.99 is actually $10. Yeah, this card's going to kill people. But also just like, I really like this card because the play pattern of sneak this into play, push a shitload of damage, kill you when you didn't have anything. Doing it on turn 3 and getting it ahead of schedule. Great. $7.99 is still $5. This is where I'm going to push back. $7.99 is $10. Or more accurately, $7.99 is actually $9.99, which is $10. And as we all know, $10 is actually $12. So like the play pattern of just like, they don't have blockers. No, it's 5. I'm sorry. If you're American, you don't get to be in this conversation because you've all been convinced that $7.99 is $5. The corporations, the fucking, the mind control, the propaganda, $6.50. Now $6.50 is $5. $7.99 is 10, but $8.50 is 5. True. I'd say $8.50 is in this like nebulous zone of I don't want to call it 5, but you never call it 10. You know? I won't have a Canadian tell me how much $7.99 is. You don't understand. I'm not just a Canadian. I'm a Canadian that exclusively makes American money. I'm a Canadian that's paid in American. I know how much this money's worth. Because I have the fucking funny money over here being like, hey, you want this, you want to get yourself 4 liters of milk? That'll be $9, eh? And I have to look them in the eye and be like, here you go, and hand them 5 bills that all cost $1 that are all green, same green, can't even tell. I dip my hand into both pots, baby. Anyways, the play patterns of this card are you attack with a bunch of things, none of it gets blocked. All of a sudden, your opponent's dead. You attack with a bunch of things, 1 or 2 things get blocked, something gets through, they take more damage than they expected, and they may lose their creature. Or you have a bunch of things, you're planning on just pushing this damage, you want as much damage from all these creatures as possible, you can play this for 4 and you kill them. Pretty good magic card. Also, art by Greg Staples. That's sick. Raphael Tough Turtle. This is just like an Impact Tremors creature. We've gotten a couple of these now. This is something I want to kind of look into these. Like, we have so many of these cards. They kill people. They end the game shockingly fast, especially when you double up in them. I wonder if there's like a version of tokens where you play like mono red tokens or like red X tokens with a bunch of these cards. Yeah, this art is so funny. Like, dog, I don't even know if you need to be doing curls with... He's doing 20-pound curls? Well, no, hold on. That's not... I saw the 10 on the bowling balls. I'm like, that's how much they weigh. 10 pounds. That's not it. That's just the size of bowling ball. How much bowling ball weight 10? Is it the weight? I don't know enough about bowling. 15 pounds? Doing 30-pound curls? This is from gobowling.com. It is the weight? I always thought it was just the size. Maybe they do it differently, because there's a bowling alley. I mean, not just the size, the weight of the ball, but the finger holes. Also, I won't be shamed into not having perfect information about bowling of all things. I'm too important. I make too much money. You can't make me feel bad about that. That's like incredibly Midwestern right there. If anything, it's a self-report. How many bowling alleys exist on the island? We got one. I think we got one now. We used to have more. But I don't believe we have any of them anymore. We have one in Langford. LRL pre-record. 5 pins, yeah. Twitch chat is so fucked up. Because people are freaking out. Oh my god, he didn't know that the number on the bowling ball was the weight of the bowling ball and thought that maybe it could mean something else. You motherfuckers found out what the numbers on your toaster meant 3 years ago. You know what the number on the bowling ball means, but you don't know what true love is. So maybe work on yourself before you come at me. Sydney, Nanaimo, and Parksville have alleys. You know, going up island, going up island for the day. That's kind of nice. Do some bowling. Ravenous robots. 1 and a red for a 2/1 artifact creature robot. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you create a 1/1 colorless robot artifact creature token. 1 red and tap. Creature tokens you control gain haste until end of turn. I'll take you on a car ride, catch some NASCAR at the Sunset Lanes. I love how stepdad coded this is. Or it's like you're my mom's new boyfriend. Come on, let's go for a ride. Go watch some NASCAR up at Sunset. A lot of people don't want to admit this, but a bowling ball with 8 on it is actually $10. Okay, so this is a 2-mana, 2/1 artifact creature that when you cast artifact spells, you make more artifact creatures. Then you can pay a red, tap, make creature tokens you control haste until end of turn. This card's fucked up. Pinnacle Emissary. Busted magic card. I need to play more of this card. The trick is people look at this card and they're like, wow, I can't wait to cast Mirror Enforcer. No. You need to look at these cards and go, wow, Krark Clan Ironworks was a mistake. Holy shit, Tolarian Academy's only 1 point. I think you get both. But these cards are at their scariest when you get to untap with them, or just cheap enough to play out, take your turn, pop off, make 1,000,000 artifact tokens, and then call it a day. I'd love to give this a shot. Which weighs more, 8-pound bowling ball or $10? That's easy. It's the 8-pound bowling ball. What's heavier? A pound of feathers? What a pound? What is it? It's a pound of feathers or a pound of I forget what the other one is. Pound? Is it a pound of feathers or a pound of steel? Kilogram of steel. That's what it is. What's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers? That's right. It's a kilogram of steel because steel is heavier than feathers. And just he's like, no. Ah. Oh, it's good. Would I rather have $10 or lunch with an 8-pound bowling ball? That's funny. And you can tell it's funny because I said that in a completely straight voice. Well, in a bisexual voice. No, but that's a good bit. That's a good bit. That's like oh, that's good. That's good. Brain Fist for the 19th month. It has been this many years since Oko was born. We are all old now. Hmm? When did Oko come out? Yeah, but how long has Oko been Korean? That's what we really want to know. The answer? Last set. What do we got? When I said that I think that the Impact Tremors creatures are good, I didn't mean the 5-drop. 5 mana, 7/5. Whenever another creature you control enters, 2 damage to each opponent. When it attacks, you make a 2/2. Intro deck ass card that'll just fucking kill you. Damn, this card is legit. This is like the Chad / Reptile Rampager versus the Virgin Perforos. I'm not going to get in the command zone. I have to. Or I'm not going to get in the red zone. I am the red zone. Look at this fucker. God. How many bowling balls do you think that car weighs? This is a rare case of a Universes Beyond commander having aura. I think that there are a lot of UB. I'm not here to, really get into it, but like there's a lot of UB cards, specifically like legends, like commander coded legends that like, I think part of why they don't resonate with people, not just because it's like IP outside of Magic, but because like they're just not doing it for me. But this shit, this guy means business. Tell him you've got a new partner, one who knows the true meaning of being a warrior. Damn. Damn. What's the lore on this guy? / teenage. Oh, he's like a spike turtle. / is a sometimes evil mutant or alien turtle who is sometimes allied with either the Foot Clan or the mighty Mutanimals. Are you kidding me? Hold up. This is what they make him look like in the television show that a lot of us grew up with. And then this is what he looks like in the comics. Motherfucking D'Angelo, God rest his soul, mutated into this guy. And now you're just dead. Closer. This guy's massive. How do we go from this to this? There's some good action shots too. But like they get a little messy. He's supposed to be one of those turtles with like a spiked shell. Is he like a snapping turtle? Weird franchise, huh? He's massive. Oh my god. Anyways. Let's talk other cards. This card's kind of interesting. Taka, is it Razor? It's Razor, right? Or Razor? Taka and Razor? I always forget. It's been a long time. Taka and Razor, unsupervised. Razor. 2 and a red for a 3/3 legendary turtle wolf mutant with first strike. Whenever another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on Taka on Razor, make a treasure token once per turn. I think you get a couple of these, like, technically don't do anything. They hit the table, but they can also do something if it's later on in the game. I don't think this is the card that you're going to get, that you're going to use that slot in. Yeah, they're like babies, right? Like they're fresh from the vats or whatever. Yeah, they're not stupid. They're infants. Don't worry. They get a really fucked up card later on. I don't think this is worth it, but they get something spicy. Courier of Comestibles. 1 and a green for a 1/2 human citizen. When it enters, you can search your library for a food card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And if you don't put a card in your hand this way, you make a food token. This is like a card that you just look at, you just kind of keep it in the back of your mind for a while. Because the second they make like a busted food card, great. Or like a food card that's a part of a combo piece, great. There's also just some good food cards to find. Like, I don't know. The food cards. I guess if you want to play this creature that I passed on. But like, you know, this is a removal spell. This is a pump spell. There's some creatures here. Sir Ginger, Tough Cookie. There's some legit targets that you could find in the food deck. Cool. Ground Chuck and Dirtbag. I do not remember these guys. 4 green for an 8/8 trample. Legendary Oxmole Mutant. Whenever you tap a land, add a green. Little man DB. Dog Boner. Whatever my little man DB here can't dig under, I can just about bust through. Ain't no one caging us ever again. Damn. Commander ass card, but kind of cool. So big. Guac and marshmallow pizza. This card's kind of fucked up for limited. Although I gotta tell you, this looks gross, but it doesn't look that gross. Now that I've looked at this card, because this is the one people were, I mean, there's a bunch of people that were complaining about it on social media. But like, I don't know, it looks gross, but it doesn't look that much more gross than like anything on Phyrexia. There's a rat inside the pizza? Yeah. We have cards that depict rat kings. We have so much rancid food. They did the whole weird pizza bit. That's the whole fucking IP. They want to sell it to the slop whales. They got to have the pizza. Rat named Marshmallow, kid named Finger, be like, you don't have to eat the pizza. This one's kind of funny. High score. 2 and a green for an enchantment. If one or more counters are put on a creature you control, that many +1 counters are drawn instead, or put on instead. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. This is a hardened scales that draws a card at end step. That's kind of nice. Touched up AI generated content. No, it's just stylistically like gross and just looks bad. Every time somebody sees something that is stylized and bad, or like goopy, they think it's AI, which is very, it's just, you know, I think it's the combination of stylized and still not great. It happened with the Avatar set too. Where was I talking about? Oh, this thing. It draws a card at end step. Doubles counters. 3 mana is a lot. I don't think you want too many of these cards or any of these cards anymore, frankly. You just get it all in creatures, but you know, it at least draws you cards. This is not the Leatherhead I wanted to talk about. This one's a 7 mana 5/5 when it attack. What the fuck? This card sucks. It's that card in particular. Out of curiosity, if people are saying this card is AI, just you know, I just want to know, one, what is your familiarity with artwork? Just like, are you an artist yourself, or one that especially is familiar with digital art? And two, what about it other than it looks off? The rare Gruul Toff was made by an AI artist. Yeah, but it was art that was not AI, made by, admittedly, an AI artist. And don't get me wrong, I think AI art is antithetical. I believe that art comes from the soul, of which AI does not have, and therefore cannot create. I do miniature figure painting. Not what I asked. Digital art only. Not to shut you down. Guac being avocado slices. Art is commissioned and done at a different time than creative text. Completely different. In fact, art would have been made before the name of this card would have been finalized and shipped. I'm only bringing this up because every time it comes from a place of these of people just not understanding the process, which is one, very annoying, and two, like, there's so many things you can hate about this set and AI art. Extend your talents towards things that, you know, like, what the fuck is this? Why'd they make this? Why does this card just stink? Pizza should not have slices on it and not actual guac. To be fair, pizza should have slices and not actual guac. Yeah. Not to mention, anytime it's UB, creative has to be very specific. Very specific. I don't know. I feel like one of these times I'm going to crash out, break a bunch of NDAs to explain the process of this. And all for what? For the, like, screaming at some, like, 23-year-old that lives in fucking, like, South Dakota or some shit. Its whole personality is, I won F&M 2 weeks in a row, AMA. Anyways, Leatherhead Swamp Stalker. 2/2 green for a legendary crocodile mutant rogue. She's a 5/4 with trample. She enters with a hexproof counter on her. And whenever Leatherhead deals combat damage to a player, you can remove a counter from her. When you do, you destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls. Really nasty and annoying card. It is 4 mana, a bit narrow in where you're going to play it, but 4 mana 5/4 hexproof trampler is pretty fucking good at killing people. Not to mention, you just need to remove any counter. You can keep the hexproof counter on her if you really want to. Some matchups it's more important than others. Thankfully, in the matchup where you want to blow up, like, important artifacts and enchantments, the hexproof doesn't matter as much, so we don't need to feel that bad. But getting rid of a +1/+1 counter that's on her because she's large enough already to just blow up the artifact or enchantment, pretty nasty. Yeah, cool card. A little narrow in application because obviously it's a 4 mana green creature that's mostly just stats. But, like, worth thinking about. Level up. This card's kind of funny. 1 and a green for an enchantment aura enchant creature. When this aura enters, you put a 1/1 counter on an enchanted creature. And whenever it attacks, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. And then if it had power 10 or greater, you draw a card. That's sick. I mean, it's an aura that requires counters, but, like, this shit is going to trigger almost fucking immediately. Like, this is, it's goofy. It's an aura. There's a lot of downsides with this. But this card is realistically hits the table, buffs a thing, attacks, buffs it even more, and then next turn, if you haven't killed this creature, it will then double its attack and draw a card. Or not double its attack, but double the counters, get it above 10, draw a card. That's kind of nice. Cool card. Again, very, very specific in where you have to play it or like why you would play it. Because auras are, well, bad. But, you know. Why does it draw a card after they died? Oh, after my opponent has died? Sometimes people have blockers. Moz and Golfer for the 51st month. Howdy Wheeler, is this set totally radical or a cow bummer? Oh, God. Thank you, Moz and Golfer, for the support. Regrettably, this set has a lot of very cool magic cards mechanically. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Look, if I had it my way, we wouldn't be looking at these turtles on magic cards. But I want to play matches of Magic the Gathering because I think the game engine is one of the best in the world. So I don't give a shit if there's a turtle on it. If the cards are fun to play with. The Limited was a lot of fun. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what I want to do? I thought I saw somebody be like, that's it. This is the last straw that I have for Magic the Gathering. I'm selling my entire collection. I kind of want to go bet. Call. I'll buy your cards. You have to sign a legally binding document that says you will never play Magic the Gathering again. Watch that motherfucker break that. Watch that motherfucker just immediately break contract. That's it. This set makes me want to sell my cards. No, it doesn't, you fucking degenerate gambler. You dumb motherfucker. All you have in life is the dollar menu at McDonald's and Magic the Gathering. You are addicted to this game. You are going to keep playing it. You do not have car insurance. You cannot show me a band. Yeah, it's slop, and you're the hog. Why can't you be a guy like me who knows it's slop, wishes it didn't exist, but says, yo, damn, wouldn't that be kind of good? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Wouldn't that be kind of cool? You throw this, you know, throw this on an aeroboroid and hey. I don't know. You cannot hold a Mox. I don't know what it is about this particular kind of person. Because I am all for negativity. I'm all for negativity. But at least do so in a way that sounds like you mean what you're saying. That sounds like you've got conviction. That you've got soul in your heart. Right? And heart in your soul. And darken your souls. I just don't believe you. I don't believe you if you say that you're going to sell off all your shit. This is the last straw. I don't know what it is about this discourse, but it makes me turn to somebody that I don't like because A, I become someone that makes very rude, often classist comments, and B, I just start using words that I don't like to use to refer to people other than the gay men in my life. I don't like what it does to me. Nothing like a new UB set dropping for me to want to call somebody a broke bitch. I don't know what it is. That's it. That's the last straw. I'm selling my collection. Motherfucker. You were looking for an out. It's not the turtles. One, you were looking for an out. You're doing the Magic the Gathering player version of selling your PSP or PSP, your PS5 on Craigslist or whatever. You know? Anyways. I'd never sell my PSP. What do you think you'd get for a PSP right now? I can't imagine PSPs have really dipped into, you know. PSPs can't, they're $30 at most. Firm handshake, $7.99, so $10. Damn. I enjoyed every single one of those posts. Chat, you're on a roll today. Selling my fight stick and installing Street Fighter 6 because I lost the mind and complained about SNK and crossovers. Hey, man with a mask. Not to put you on blast here. Not to put you on blast. But out of curiosity, did you reinstall Street Fighter 6? No judgment. No judgment. I just want to know. You said it like 10 times? Yes. Well, I wanted you to say it an 11th time so I could use you as an example. Lied to on the internet. You people are gambling addicts. Every time you say you're out, you pull yourself back in. And that's beautiful, isn't it? The hold it has on you. I can't deal with this Mai and this Ryu bullshit. I swear to God, if I run into another JP, babe, you just lost to a Jamie. You lost to a Manon that got 5 medals in the first round somehow because you were trying to play some fundamentals. And then you leave and you talk about it. And then you're like, actually, hold on. Hold on. I think that there's fatigue from UB has overtaken the traditional block formats along with power creep that's occurring. I'm a grumpy old man looking from the outside. Oh yeah, I think that the product fatigue is the big thing. There are main factors here. Is one, product fatigue, too many goddamn sets, and everybody's broke and they can't afford healthcare. And by that, I mean America. But that's the primary market here, and that's the primary group of people you're going to be seeing complaining online because your country's collapsing. And I'm sorry about that, but it's American exceptionalism to seem like that is anything different from what has happened or is ongoing in other countries. Number two, it's standard legal sets. Nobody give a shit if this is Commander, right? Who cares? I think Doctor Who is cringe. I think the Fallout is big dookie butt. But if it's Commander product, who cares? Even if I'm somebody that is playing one of those formats. You know? And 3, it's just not a thing that you like. There have been some dog water ass UB product that has come out. And people flock to it because they like it. But they don't want to admit it. They don't, like or like they are reluctant to admit it that when they could just say like, this isn't my slop. That's my slop. Right? Like Final Fantasy had a lot of good going for it. Some powerful cards. I heard the limited environment was pretty fun. But like, you know, okay, you play with your toy, you put it away afterwards. You spend like what, a month with it? A week with it? 2 weeks? But like, come on. I liked the Final Fantasy cards. But like, that's like grade A slop. You have 1 million fucking legendary creatures. You just have a bunch of shit, a bunch of chaff. I don't know, man. It's your slop, which is nice. I'm sure when they make a slop for me, I'd love it. I mean, if it's an IP they like, there's a lot of moving of the goalposts too. Like, Also, I've seen a lot of people, and I'm not saying that I'm navigating this kind of discourse in a positive way, in an effective way. I should be, though, because I'm never incorrect. But I think a lot of it is also, I just watch how people navigate this discourse on both sides, and I'm like, you're actually correct in your line of thinking, but how you've executed this post or this tweet or this comment is flawed, and you don't accept that you can have all of this together. There can be a nuanced take. Like, Krim made this post where he showed like 2 cards from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and was very like glib about like, you know, like it was like memeified and, you know, whatever. And I love Krim, but Krim's a slop junkie. That man loves his slop. And like, I think it is worth talking about like, hey, this shit has been happening in Magic the Gathering for years, if not decades. It has made a massive turn to genre sets, to event sets. We are so far gone from what drew a lot of people into this game, and now there's a new audience, but you know, we're far from what many people believe was like the highlight of the game, which honestly it wasn't. There's a lot of stuff that's still really bad back then, but we'll get to that. But like, you need to acknowledge that. You can't just make like a fucking, you can't just make a meme post of like, hey, you people didn't get upset when it was Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Because 1, they did. 2, it is different, but you can still say they're both slop. You can say Neo is slop. Neo was slop. They took everything cool about Kamigawa, stripped that, and said, what do Americans know about Japan? Anime. And then focused on that, right? But people can dislike that, and you can approach this with like, hey, doesn't this suck? It sucked back then and sucks now. But that doesn't, but if that's purely your argument, then it's just this whataboutism that leads nowhere. You can look at it and be like, I saw one post where it's like, the problem with UB is that it's like too real. It's hyper real, right? Like from a philosophical approach, this, the difference between this and something like Kamigawa is that this is, there are too many touchstones for our own world. There are too many instances, cultural references, depictions of characters, tools, items, cuisine that like is from our world. Not and not in a way where you can go like, oh cool, there's coffee on Ravnica or whatever. It's like, no, this is like a pizza shop based off of this pizza from this city, from that, you know, it just goes and goes and goes. And there's an interesting philosophical conversation to have with the hyper real. And where's my fucking book? Wait, perfect timing. Okay. You're not allowed to enter the UB discourse until you read Simulacra and Simulation. Because this is the issue that we're running into for a lot of people. But then the reaction to that post, Spice 8 rack, motherfuckers see one other person that has read a book. Y'all are going to get me in trouble. Anyways. The walk to my bookshelf calmed me down. The point I'm trying to make is I feel like my relationship with this game is the best it's ever been because I don't give a shit that I'm looking at Michelangelo. I give a shit if Michelangelo's fun to play. And probably because I don't play a 60 card format. I do think that if you are currently playing a 60 card constructed format with some regularity in paper, you are ill. You are sick. You need help. You need medication. You need to speak to a doctor. You are a gambling addict and you have so much undiagnosed, sometimes maybe diagnosed but not treated mental illnesses. You need to find God and you need to play Cube. Legacy fucks. And you need car insurance. You need car insurance and you need God. All right, where was I? Oh, right, turtles. I have car insurance, but I'll pass on God. Finding God isn't about finding a religious God or an individual religious God. Get it twisted. Very American of you to assume that it was that. Anyways, and I'm going to start using American as an insult more and more, and you people need to feel ashamed. Garrick Predator of Scrubs for the 82nd month. Welcome back. How am I doing? How am I being? How are you doing? How are you being? Neo was my slop. Doctor Who was my slop. Final Fantasy was not my slop. This is complete garbage. What, this card? Jundonator, beg for your life. I'm too mentally ill to understand that. Well, garbage UB Beyond Booster non-set set. The set was not the set, not the card. Streets are dangerous today. Look, I'm going to tell you, if you are somebody that regularly comes into chat and says the dumbest thing I've heard all week, you got to be a little careful with what you say. Personally, I don't think being American is bad, although being from the States, well, it's tough. There's a lot of nuance there. We don't have time to get into that. We don't have time to get into that. Okay, Angel has now landed. Her plane has landed back home, which means I have to start talking about Magic. Thank you, Garrick Predator Scrubs, for all the support. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. What funny line? What's the funny line I needed to say? She was here earlier? Yeah, and then she got on a plane and didn't have internet on the plane. And now she's landed. Cowabummer? I read Cowabummer. This, I think this set's like got some good mechanical cards here. Like, out of curiosity, if we can have an experiment here right now. What if I was like so fucking hyped for this set? You know? Like, what if I was like, damn, I love turtles. I like this mechanically. I like the artwork. I like the theme, the setting, whatever. You know, I'm like a real turtle head or whatever. Kappa. And you come into chat and the first thing you say is, this is a dog shit set. This is garbage nonsense. Nothing else. No, hey Ben, what's up? No, how is it going? No. Talking turtles, huh? Just a wild way to navigate through life. Didn't care. Didn't ask. Suck my balls. This is my least favorite part about I feel like this fucking happens every UB set because I shouldn't be defending UB at all. I'm not the person that this is for. I don't give a shit about UB. I just want some consistency in how people handle themselves, carry themselves, and operate. And maybe that's asking too much. Maybe it is. Should I expect less? Anyways, this is Michelangelo. 3 and a green for a 4/4 legendary mutant ninja turtle with sneak 2 green. Whenever Michelangelo deals combat damage to a player, you may put a creature card and or land from your hand into play. This one's kind of cool. I've played that Eldrazi deck plays the Yuna's Decision, which is kind of this first ability, although that draws a card. I could see this card slamming on the table, putting a big fuck off Eldrazi into play, attacking with some spawn tokens, attacking with like a Birds of Paradise or whatever. Like, I could see this card pushing through some big motherfuckers, which is kind of exciting. I want to try it on that. I don't think you're really casting this for 4 and you're like, great, here we go. But I think if you can sneak it into play, then you can really get to work. Where the hell is archetypes? I gotta tell you, Apple Music's jazz selection is terrible. Like they're missing classic albums. It's kind of shocking. Like, I'm not even a let people enjoy things. I think let people enjoy things might be my least favorite, like, phrase of the past 5 years. No, let me hate on this stupid garbage. But if I'm going to hate on the stupid garbage, you hold the right to, you have to keep me accountable. If I'm going to hate on stupid garbage, I need to at least be consistent, thorough with my explanation, and nuanced. That's my thought process. I don't need a dumbbell coming in here and just saying one fucking thing and then dipping. And you know what? If you are, at least do it in a way that is a little more nuanced. Like if somebody comes in, they're like, I don't know about this set, man. The vibes are off. I'm like, I get what you mean. You know? That's like, okay. Yep. I get it. Speaks just speaks so what the fuck is this? I don't know. Maximalist Proclamation? No, Transformers was a different set. None of these cards. This one's this top 8 cards. Michelangelo, the Heart. 1 and a green for a legendary mutant ninja turtle. It's a 2/1 with trample, and has at the beginning of your second main phase, if you attack this turn, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature and make a food token. The play pattern of this is kind of interesting. You attack in with the thing, you play this, it gets bigger. Either the creature that attacked or you make Michelangelo bigger. Probably make Mike bigger, because then you get a 3/2 trampler, and you get a food token. The timing, the post-combat on this is a little awkward. Means that you don't get the counter before you get to attack. But, 2-drop that repeatedly gets to make tokens and grow creatures. It's not nothing. Pretty good with the other cards and the tokens, or the counters deck as well. That, that's a deck that has Luminarch Aspirant and cards to grow their cards, and making this thing big's kind of nice. It's all right. This one's a bit better in terms of doing just that. Michelangelo, weirdness to 11. 1 and a green for a 1/1 legendary mutant ninja turtle. When it enters, you make a mutagen token. I think this is one of the first times we've talked. I mean, we mentioned it, but I never explained them. Mutagen tokens are artifact tokens with 1 generic, tap, sack, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, activate only as a sorcery. And then says if 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1/+1/+1. That many +1/+1/+1 counters are put on it instead. This is great. The hardened scales type abilities, you really want them on creatures, and it happens to be on a creature that can, well, actually just start putting counters on things. And that creature happens to be a 2-drop. It's pretty good. Pretty good for the counters deck. Might actually have some play outside that too, but like, I think you mostly just want this for the counters deck. Camus MTG for the 21st month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. I hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Mikey and Mona Mutant Sitters. 2 and a green for a 2/2 legendary mutant ninja turtle. Lizard. When Mikey and Mona enter, choose one or both. Each mode has to target a different player. Target player chooses a creature they control, put 2/1/1 counters on it, or target player returns a creature or land card from their graveyard to their hand. This card can hit the table, make itself a 4/4, so 3 mana 4/4. Not exciting, but like, you know, not nothing. Or ETBs and you return a creature or land from your graveyard to your hand. There's some flexibility here. Kind of fun with Caracas. Can't loop Time Walk with it, which is a damn shame. Just give us a legendary Eternal Witness. I promise I won't be weird with it. Excuse me. That costs 4 mana. This one's kind of interesting. Mutagen Man. X green for a legendary ooze mutant. It's a 2/3 with trample. Activated abilities of artifact tokens you control cost 1 less to activate. When Mutagen Man enters, you create X mutagens. I think this card might have some play in the game objects deck. Either the Sultai game objects deck that I was talking about with Time Sieve, or like it's just I don't know if the food deck necessarily wants it, because that deck is really into treasure, food, and clues. Like really, just let's keep it at that. But being able to reduce the activation on, well, your clues, obviously your mutagens here, your food, whatever, is kind of exciting. Combos pretty well with Forensic Gadgeteer. And just, you dump a bunch of mana into this, and then next turn your Tolarian Academy adds a bajillion. It's kind of exciting. We talked about this on the set review. Ninja Pizza. 2 and a green for an enchantment that says food you control have tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. Beginning of your second main phase, you get to create a food token. It's kind of interesting that this can make food tokens, and that it can like put the food from play into the graveyard, which is really exciting. Just a lot of the cards in the food decks care about cards changing zones, more so than like you know, the life. Some care about when you gain life, do a thing, but there are a lot of cards in the food deck and the game objects deck that just say like when an artifact goes to the graveyard, or when you sacrifice you know, a food. Doesn't matter how you sacrifice it, it's just when you sacrifice it. No, you only get it on your second main phase. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of, if you're going down this avenue with the food deck, then sure, this enchantment. We have a couple of cards that do something similar, Jaheira or Knight of Sweet's Revenge. But if you're going down that avenue with the food deck, this card will do something unique when compared to those two, and it's just going to sit around making food every single turn. Yeah, don't they usually, they like order these pizzas to like a random alley and then they like throw, like the money just appears in front of them and then the driver's like, huh? And then they like steal all the pizza. Well, they don't steal it because they paid for it, but then they yoink all the pizza. I'm pretty sure they pay for their pizza. I'm going to Google this. Do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pay for their pizza? Yes. They do. God, I can go for some pizza. How do they get the money? This says that they would get it from April and Casey once they befriended them, but they sell used electronics and go to pawn shops and fix things up that they find in the trash in the sewer and use that money to get pizzas. I already talked about this Rocksteady. A lot of crap in green. Yeah, we'll just go on to multicolor. Dawn and Leo, problem solvers. 3 and then 2 hybrid Azorius for a 4/6 legendary mutant ninja turtle with vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target artifact you control and up to 1 target creature you control, then return them to the battlefield under their owner's control. Do we have this? I was looking at this card, I'm like, do we have a creature that is a teleportation circle? It being in hybrid blue-white is pretty exciting. Because those are the colors that you play with Bant. We have Y'shtola and Brago. Y'shtola costs 6, right? Y'shtola is 6? And is mono blue? Oh, Thassa. We do have Thassa. Yeah, that's right. Thassa's 4 in blue. Right. Thassa Deep Dwelling? I'm just going to look up Thassa because I could look at some fish women. Oh, hello. Nothing beats this one. The Jason Chan Thassa God of the Sea. Just look at this fucking card. Is this not the coolest thing in the world? Is this not the coolest shit in the world? Damn. The Deep Dwelling. Yeah, the Deep Dwelling does it. 4 mana. Also, Thassa not being a creature makes it a little bit easier. Okay. Oh, fuck. Yes, Soul Herder. I forgot we have Soul Herder. All right. Sorry, Don and Leo. There are just 2 better versions of this card. Taka and Razor. Terrible 2s. 2 black-red hybrid for a 3/2 legendary turtle wolf mutant. This spell can't be countered. Menace. And whenever a player casts a spell, if the amount of mana spent to cast it was less than its mana value, Taka and Razor deals 3 damage to that player. Holy shit. This card is annoying as hell. This is... oh. Like... At least it's not killing you for playing 0 drops. Like, you're not going to get got if you play a Mox or a Crow Mox or whatever. But, like... Nice Daze. Nice Quantum Riddler. Nice Solitude or Fury. Force of Will. A lot of sneak cards. Whew. Omniscience. Sure, why not? Yeah. Pretty great card. This ability is quite strong. It's also just a 2-mana 3/2. Can't be countered menace. That's gonna kill people. That shit's gonna kill people. I'm gonna fucking fight Greg Van Horn, and he's gonna go land Mox, Taka, and Razar. And I'm looking at a hand with a Force of Will, and I'm like, oh. Well. Huh. Great. Yeah, this card's gonna kill people. Okay. Raph and Mikey, Troublemakers. 5 and then 2 hybrid green-red for a 7/7 legendary mutant ninja turtle with trample and haste. Whenever Raph and Mikey attack, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped. Oh, I keep mucking my camera. Put that creature on the battlefield tapped and attacking, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I have an idea for this card. We're going to talk about it in part 2 of the North 100 set review. So we play an Oath of Druids deck where our targets are Raph and Mikey plus Emrakul. That's it. I Oath into Raph and Mikey. I attack, I put Emrakul into play, tapped and attacking, take 22, you are now dead. I Oath into Emrakul, I now have Emrakul. I no longer have Emrakul in my deck, and I Oath into Raph and Mikey. I still have a 7/7 trampling haste creature and all of my mana available for me. That's kind of nice. I think I'll try this Oath deck. It's a little, Oath decks are little wonky. But like, I don't know. This card just kills people. Maybe throw in a Traxa. No, that's quitter talk. Because then I'm going to draw my Raph and Mikey. I'm going to hit it. I'm excited to try this deck out when this card comes out. Mikey and Leo, Chaos and Order. 2 hybrid green-white for a 2/2 legendary mutant ninja turtle. Whenever you put a counter on a creature you control, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. Easier to cast version of Dusk Legion Duelist that does have a downside where it can be Karakist. That's kind of nice. Dusk Legion Duelist, pretty powerful magic card. Nice to have redundancy. I'm going to give counters another shot after this. Dark Leo and Shredder. White and a black for a 1/3 legendary mutant ninja turtle human with sneak for white and a black. Attacking ninjas you control have death touch. And whenever Dark Leo and Shredder deal combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 black ninja creature token. Then if you control 5 or more ninjas, that player loses half their life rounded up. Dark Woke Leo. They're going to use a slur, but only as a way to relay how stupid they think right-wingers are. Come Town, the card. There's nothing about that that's woke. Yeah, I like that it's a 2-mana 1/3 that just pushes, 2-mana 1/3 Death Toucher on attacks that creates Death Touchers on attack. Don't know where I'm going to put this or why I would play it over something else. But like this card can win games for sure. Like you just start racking up these tokens. You only ever need to hit with this to get the tokens. Pushes damage, real annoying. Could just, Ocelot Pride gets you to the requisite ninjas quickly. Kind of cool. This is a very weird card. Karai's Technique. 1 white and a black for sorcery with sneak for white and a black. Choose one or both. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Such a weird fucking card. This card could, it's not that bad. It's like purely the stat, like it's a fucking, what is it? It's like consume strength, but better. The fact that you can sneak it out is kind of exciting. I don't think this card is going to see play because these types of cards don't really see play, but this is not nothing. Splinter, Radical Rat. 1 and then 2 hybrid Orzhov for a 2/4 legendary mutant ninja rat. If an ability of a ninja creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. And then has pay 1 in a blue. Target ninja can't be blocked this turn. I think this card might actually show up in ninjas. In blue-black ninjas. Pushing ninjas through, huge. Triggering off of additional, like your Ninja of the Deep Hours draws 2 cards. Yuriko reveals 2 cards. But also, I don't think there are additional... I don't think there are additional... Are there ninjas with triggered abilities that aren't combat related? Yeah, I get why this is... Alder Iris says this is very commander coded, but I like it. This is a card I've been looking at. I'm like, oh, it's white mana. It's very much, yeah, it's very much an Esper ninja commander, right? But then I'm just like, yeah, I think it's actually fine. 2/4 is not nothing. Means that this can attack pretty easily. I think I'm playing this. I think I'm trying this out in Blue Black Ninjas. Oh, sorry. If I can abuse my status as resident musician, at some point we should listen to the TMNT theme song, talk about how ridiculous the lyrics are. Remind me at the end of the set review, and we'll listen to 2 of them. I got 2 theme songs I want to listen to. I don't even know what this card does. Dawn and Raph, Hard Science. 1 and then 2 hybrid is it. Legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle, 2/4 with Menace. When Dawn and Raph attack, the next non-creature spell you cast this turn has affinity for artifacts. Okay. Northwind Avatar. I thought that was the last set. Bebop and Rocksteady. 1 and then 2 hybrid Golgari for a legendary Boar Rhino Mutant. It's a 7/5. Whenever Bebop and Rocksteady attack or block, sacrifice a permanent unless you discard a card. This card's not bad. I mean, the problem is, it's fine. It's just a big dumbass. What's bad about this card is that the deck it goes into isn't that great. But that's okay. I'm so excited to build a deck for camera. I think this is how I described it on the set review, where I'm like, this is a card that is great for content and terrible for winning tournaments. Because like, if I bring black-red discard aggro to a North 100 showdown, and I go like turn 2 Rotting Regisaur, turn 3 Bebop and Rocksteady, and Surge is like, oh, they're so big. I don't know if I can beat that. Chat will for once be on my side. Like this is a fucking people pleaser of a Magic card. And that deck's so cool. But obviously, if you're trying to win a tournament, I don't know if this is going to be your best bet. Might be the worst card I'm going to play. Is chat normally not on my side? Oh, God, no. For North 100 or North 100 Showdown? No, nobody's hoping Benny Wheels wins. I do that too much. You don't want to root for me. You want to root for the underdog. Ice Cream Kitty. 1 and then hybrid Golgari for a 1/3 artifact creature. It's a food mutant cat, food cat mutant. Pay 2 generic, sacrifice another creature or token, draw a card, activate only as a sorcery. And then pay 2, generic, and tap, sacrifice this creature, you gain 3 life. This is a very powerful activated ability. It just turns any token or any creature you control into a clue, more or less, and does so for only 2 mana, while also being a tutorable food target for that other card that we've seen. That's kind of exciting. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be... I mean, I'll try it out in the Sultai Game Objects deck. It is an artifact. That's not nothing. 3 toughness gives it a little bit of wiggle room. Can block. Doesn't get Bowmasters out. Well, it does. But at least if I play this and draw a card and they Bowmasters in response, they're not killing this card. That's kind of nice. There's a cool Putrefy here, but Putrefy doesn't really see play anymore. This card's so weird. Go Ninja Go. Boros for a sorcery that says choose one or both. Exile target creature you control, return to play. Or Go Ninja Go deals damage equal to the greatest power among creatures you control to target creature an opponent controls. That's a lot of value. It does need you to have, obviously, creatures to want to do these things. But, like, that's not bad. That's not... This is the kind of card that I'm going to... Somebody's going to play it against me on a Monday night or whatever, and I'll be like, holy shit. Sorry, did you just flicker your solitude and then kill my best creature? That sucks. Whew. Kind of cool. Kind of cool card. Oh, I'll give a shout out to this. Mechanized Ninja Cavalry. It's 1 and then a hybrid red-white for a 1/1 artifact creature. Comes into play, makes a 1/1 colorless robot token. It's another Raise the Alarm card. This one, or a Goblin Instigator or whatever. This one doesn't have flash, but it brings a friend. Happens to be an artifact, which might be relevant for some stuff. Raph and Leo, 1 and then 2 hybrid Boros. Legendary Mutant Ninja Turtle, a 2/4. Whenever Raph and Leo attack, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap 1 or 2 target attacking creatures. After this phase, there is additional combat step. I would like to try this card out in a mono white deck, or a Boros' deck, or a mono red deck, or a Gruul Monsters deck. I don't know. 4 toughness. The fact that so many of these turtle pairs, at least the 3 mana ones, they're 2/4s, makes them a bit more difficult to kill. Obviously, they all get hit by Caracas or whatever, but who gives a shit? This just so happens to also be in the Blood Moon colors, or the I'm playing it with Strip and Wasteland, and you don't want to, your Caracas isn't going to do much anyways colors. Kind of cool. Looks, this card, a bit of an odd comparison. Oh God, maybe Surge made this comparison. Well, that sounds smarter when I say it. Silverblade Paladin, the Double Strike Soul Bonder. Like, it isn't quite that. Right? You don't get to pair up and get one big hitter. But like, this is a 3 mana 2/4 that is going to start pushing a shitload of damage. Especially when you think of some of the other aggressive cards that people play in these White X decks, right? Like, God forbid you get another attack with Adeline. Also, additional combat phase. How many triggered abilities in mono white or White X decks, or Boros decks, or mono red, fuck everything. How many of these decks have triggered abilities at beginning of combat? Right? Like getting another trigger off Luminarch Aspirant, or Siege Veteran, or Agent Bishop, getting another Rabble Master trigger, Legion Warboss trigger. Holy fuck. Getting to attack with a Broadside Bombardiers a couple of times. Adeline? Pretty good. No, I'm good. Just looking at some of these cards. What are you doing? Oh, this one's kind of okay. Chrome Dome. Yeah, you only get to boast once per turn, but like you get to attack with a menace creature and you get to like clear the board on your attack. Yeah. I never mentioned the boast part. I just mentioned you're going to fucking kill somebody with a broadside bombardiers. Chrome Dome. 2 mana, artifact creature. It's a robot ninja. A 1/3. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+0. 5 generic. Create a token that's a copy of another target artifact you control. That token gains haste. Sack it at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah, if you're playing the artifact deck that actually has creatures, this is a pretty insane 2-drop. Hits the board early. If you have a bunch of mana, can start doing some pretty nasty things. Can't target itself, which is a little bit of a pisser. But like, I don't know. Target my Thought Monitor. Seems pretty good. Target Nettlecyst. Equip Nettlecyst. Pretty good. Pretty gross. Any artifact, too. Other than itself, but you can target tokens, so you can make more constructs. Great. Great. This card is kind of funny. So it's Coin of Mastery, a 4-mana artifact. Each creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each mana from an artifact source you spent to cast it. Tap, create a treasure token. This card is going to be so fucking expensive. This card is going to be so goddamn expensive. If you ever want to play this card in Cube or Canlander or Commander or wherever, please get this card. Do yourself a favor and buy this card. Do it now before it becomes a $50 card or some shit. It won't be $50, but there's no way this card's going to stay cheap. 4 mana is so much. For artifact mana? It's not good? What? This card's not good in Commander? Do you know? First off, repeatable tap, make a treasure token, goes infinite with like Clock of Omens. Giving all your creatures effectively sunburst from artifacts in any artifact deck. It's fucking huge. Generates treasure tokens, any deck that cares about making tokens. This card's going to be so expensive. I refuse to believe it plays well most of the time. Don't do this to yourself. Why be willfully ignorant? It's a commander card. It's not good. It is good. You people are dumb as shit. What do you mean it's not good? This card hits the table on turn 3 and every creature you play for the rest of the game is going to be a fucking 8/8. Commander players play the shit out of this no matter how bad it is. No. You have a fundamental misunderstanding about what Commander players want. That's the thing. You're thinking about Commander players like someone who thinks you're above being a Commander player. You're not. You talk about playing Dredge and Canlander. You're not better than a Commander player. You're just sucking on a different vat of slop. This card hits the table on turn 3. Goes infinite. Makes everything at least +3/+3. Goes in any deck. This card's going to be expensive. That's all I'm saying. I'm just trying to get you to save some money. I'm just trying to get you to save some money. You should find a different hobby. Well, didn't you pick up the hobby of just complaining about Magic rather than playing it? That's a new hobby. It's $2? Yeah, there's a bubble. There's a bubble. Buy it. Buy it. Anyways. May reveal a legendary turtle. Guess I should talk about this card. Krang, Utrom Warlord. 9 generic mana for a 9/9 legendary artifact creature, Utrom Robot. Flying, trample, indestructible. Other artifact creatures you control have flying, trample, and indestructible. This card does kill people if you reanimate it. It does get... Caracas and Swords to Plowshares exist. Just saying, just obviously, yeah, that'll happen. But let me tell you, they have a very small window of time to do that. How did I not read haste twice? Flying into trample, indestructible, haste. Other artifact creatures you control get flying, indestructible, trample, haste. This shit's going to kill you off Tinker. This shit might kill you off Reanimate. Obviously a glaring weakness. But like this thing will kill you. I'd put this in my vintage cube list. Cool. Huh. This card is not playable, but it does something kind of interesting. 2 mana manhole cover, 2 mana artifact with flash. ETB, target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. You pay 2 generic. Target player draws a card. This is a nut that can deck an opponent out. That's kind of cool. Gotta admit, that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Ooh. Omni Cheese Pizza. 2 generic for an artifact food. When this artifact enters, draw a card. Pay 1 generic, tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. Pay 2 generic, tap, sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. So this is Golden Egg. That's great. Golden Egg's like one of the best nuts you can get. 2 mana artifact, ETB on draw, that gets to put itself into the graveyard at mana neutral, but can also put itself in the graveyard as part of a loop to gain infinite life, or mostly infinite life. You have to have some other pieces so you don't deck out. Redundancy on this kind of card, hell yeah. This is one of those new like nuts or eggs where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Ben, I think your genius is criminally underrated. Sorry, I meant breezy beef. No worries. Don't say nice things about me. It'll make me blush, and it's I get too much credit already. At least that's what I'm told. But thank you for the kind words. I know a thing or two about Magic the Gathering. If only that could translate to me playing Magic the Gathering. Unfortunately, those are different strengths. Skateboard. You can't imagine me blushing. It's because I'm always red. Skateboard. 1 generic for an artifact equipment. When this equipment enters, tap target permanent. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has haste, and equips for 1 generic. This card's really good. Lava Spur Boots got a lot of hype when it came out. Did see some play. People moved away from it. Didn't really need it that much. Some decks still play it, right? It's pretty good to get. I think this card's just better. Tapping down their blocker. Like, the play pattern for Lava Spur Boots, right, is like make car instruct, untap, make car instruct, find the boots, equip boots. You attack with both of them. Maybe they have a blocker. They don't take a ton of damage. They take a bit of damage. The fact that this card can tap their shit. It can come into play, tap their blocker, and you swing it with the car instructs. Huge. Tap their counter spell at pre-combat. Huge. Tap their Caracas. Yeah, tap Caracas. Find this off Saga. Tap their Caracas. Make a Merit Lodge. Pay 1 to equip this. Kill them. Huge. This card's so good. So good. Good with clones if you have any of the artifact clones running around. Yeah, I'm excited to play this card. Very funny. Skateboard, Lamau. I haven't actually read this. I opened this card, but I haven't read it. Technodrome. 2 generic for an artifact creature construct, reach and trample. Can't attack or block. Sack an artifact, draw a card. Put a counter on this. This is the kind of card. This is the classic Magic player make a new card. But this is the kind of card I look and I go, I wish this wasn't a creature until it had enough counters and then it's a creature or whatever. A little too vulnerable. The Ooze. 2 mana. Legendary artifact. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it leaves play, create a mutagen token for each 1/1 counter on it. Tap. Exile a card from a graveyard, make a mutagen token. I think that you are likely more interested in just playing Soul Guide Lantern and Ghost Vacuum. And if we move up to wanting more of these cards and decks with creatures, I think I might be more interested. I'm definitely more interested in Agatha's Soul Cauldron. But I have been continuously disappointed with Unlicensed Hearse. Hearse is never, the Hearse-Ilago is like never actually, you know, if it so very rarely doesn't matter. It does sometimes. You play enough games, like I have attack with my Hearse-Ilago, but it's just not, it's not as relevant as the mutagen token, I think, especially if you're playing this in a deck that just has other 1/1 counters on cards, you know, your Lelias, your Intis, your Luminar Casperins, etc. So I think this card is it's one that I am glad exists because you get to, you know, more customize your graveyard hate, which nowadays so fucking important. Yeah, making game objects is legit quite good. I guess the way that I want to word this is good, but often will be the option you want to pick in worse decks. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Those decks need love too. The Ooze. I wonder if it being legendary is relevant. I haven't read any of these cards. This card's messed up in Commander. If you're a deck that has like a anything with charge counters, holy. We have a set of lands here, just basic lands. That card's not very good. I really like this card. Hidden Hideout. This is another Magic card that I love for Commander, admittedly. I get a little Commander posting on these videos, just a little bit as a treat. It's a land that comes into play tapped. Taps add 1 mana of any color in your Commander's color identity. So it's Command Tower. And then 2 generic tap, target creature you control with a counter on it gains lifelink until end of turn. So it's another Command Tower. It's a Command Tower that comes into play tapped. Not that big of a deal. How many commanders or commander archetypes have counters in any way, shape, or form? That's kind of huge. This is going to deal some damage. That's kind of cool. Anyways, that's the set. Yeah. I said it before at the beginning. I said it in the middle, but I'll say it again. I think Magic the Gathering is one of the best games in the world. I think the games, and I think it is large in part due to the game system. I think that the artwork and the worlds that they create do matter, but they matter. The amount they matter is going to be, you know, changing from person to person. It used to be greatly important for me when I was younger, but about 15 years ago or so, maybe even less, that kind of changed. The way they made Magic sets changed. The worlds they made changed. And I started caring less and less. I love this game. I think the game's great. And now I mostly look for mechanical like hooks. And mechanically, I think this set has some incredible cards. Some very exciting cards for Canadian Highlander, some exciting cards for Vintage Cube, and some cool cards for Commander, for what it's worth. Yeah. This game's great if you leave your house. That's the real thing. I think I said it best when I said the Magic is slop, but the Gathering is soul, right? Magic the Gathering fucking hits if you leave your house and go to your LGS and play Highlander, or meet up with some buddies and play some Cube, or just jam Vintage Cube, and that's it.